Okay. All right. I promised Yuki I'd take it easy. Take it easy. Welcome to another thrilling edition of Premiere 2. My name is Peter. Thank you for joining me on a humid, hot morning here in Tokyo, Japan. I will endeavor to entertain you for the next 2 or 3 hours as we are 15 minutes away from seeing a Path of Exile 2
to my surprise,
developer update.
A secret, sexy club.
Welcome to the club, Austin. Or should I say welcome back? This is like Brokeback Mountain. Pete is so sick, but I just can't quit you. Can't quit. Listen, it's almost 6 a.m. It's actually almost 5 a.m. I am full of antibiotics. I am taking all the medicine necessary. I've spent an egregious amount of time in Vanna DL. I am very sick. And I know it sounds ridiculous because you look at me and you think, this guy's the picture of health. But I'm fighting through it. I'm sleeping 12 hours a day, and unfortunately, my sleeping schedule's a little bit reversed with the rest of the world. So I'm awake during the night, and then for the sponsorships and things. But I've had a great day. I've got to see my wife a bit, my kid a bit. I'm very thankful, very thankful that the team behind Path of Exile 2, which is an amazing game. The first one was amazing. The second one's it's better than ever. And the fact that we get sponsored by cool people making cool games is literally one of the greatest things that you could ask for. And so I am very thankful that they've chosen this channel to be representative of their content update. I would like to say that my job's kind of easy today. I'm going to leave it to the pros, but we're going to be reacting live to their developer update. And the drops are on. And then afterwards, I'm going to give you my thoughts.
Pete, and I hope you recover from this soon.
Thanks, man. I'll give my thoughts on the game, and then I'm going to bounce. Not because I don't want to be here. I do. I love streaming. It's just that I got something nasty. I don't know what it was, guys. I got pneumonia. I've had this cough for almost over a month now, and I had pneumonia, and then it turned into asthma. And every time I cough, I'm left kind of gasping for breath. And of course, I'm very worried about my son's health. So I've got masked up when I see him. I've been told it's not contagious, but we're trying to make sure that even when I cough, I'm not sending any of my bacteria or anything like that. So I've been really careful. I've been kind of just hiding in the cut, doing my thing. But that's what we're doing today. And I don't know when I can go back to my normal streaming schedule, but as soon as I can, I would love to do so. Okay, let me rephrase this. I know that pneumonia doesn't turn into asthma. I'm aware, even though I'm not a doctor, and I don't know how many of you are either. I mean, I had pneumonia, and it uncovered a potential asthma condition that's been underlying. Kiddo is okay. Kiddo's fine. It's just me. I'm the one who's kind of going through it, and it's all a cover. He's been acting, and he's been hiding away playing Final Fantasy XI. I'll be honest. That's true.
Quakes.
I have been playing some FF11 on my free time. Mainly the game's just up, and I'm just kind of chilling there. But Hegmo was a huge help today, getting me some cool content updates in that game. But I'm here for Path of Exile 2. You're here for Path of Exile 2, or you're here because you're helping out the channel, and you know that you being in this really helps me out. So thank you. I haven't had asthma in 30 years. Last time I had it, I was literally a child. I was 10 years old. And I was allergic to cats, and I used to have my inhaler. So sucking down the inhaler medicine like I'm Eddie in it. It's a nostalgic taste. I'll tell you that, Gornographic. I'm just here because you're hilarious and make good content. You know what? I'm about time somebody said it. I think we could have a news break for that.
You're watching PP Action News.
Breaking news, I'm good at funny content. Now back to you in the studio. Thanks, I appreciate that. Another chance for me to spam my PP Action News. Thanks. It's true. It's damn true. I don't know what the deal is, but I can't say I disagree. I cannot. I feel like there's some truth to that. Let me get a couple of thank yous in early so I can say big shout to you guys. And do me a favor, guys, while you can, smash that PoE2 link. Show them that all 600 of you, all 1,000, whoever's there, go ahead and at least purview it. Take a look at it. Go have a sniff. If we can show them that this channel's got some motion, this goes a long way into help securing some really cool financial freedom where I don't have to rely just on the kindness of subscribers and donators. Speaking of, thank you to Azrakos. The Fat Wave is back. YR Cleddy F, Uncle Mike, Gornographic Groovy, Dark Spirit Garrett, Atomic Ink Art, my brother. See you in Dangriff Wadi later. 57 months. Brother, that's an insane one. I have over 1,100 hours in this game.
The ground
It's great.
quakes.
It is a great game. Will you carry me into Endgame? Fluffy Toast 22 might. Thank you, Jade Raven. Thank you, Munchlars, Flatline, Austin, of course, the glass breaking. What up, Meek? How you doing, Meekus? Appreciate you, boss. 10 months at tier 1. You're 31 months into the pain. Capnelli, OG Fufu, Ewan, of course, Command Wolf. Thank you, Judd 007, and Cardiff Felon. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate that. 27 months, boys. We're on some hot streak of good content. I got lots of fun games I'll be bringing to you guys as much as I possibly can. Very excited about what the channel has in store for all of you.
Adding more bits to the train in hopes we get to listen to the Klebs special like old times.
Here's the thing, is I'll play the Klebs special. The problem is, and I know it sounds weird, it's too loud because... I'll play it. SSJ3 Chris.
The ground
Noxer,
quakes.
Master Poe. Thank you, brothers. Thank you for keeping that hype train schmoving and grooving, boys. Oh man, this song is a jam. Set hype train level 7. Thank you all. I've got a little coffee here. Hey, hello, Pete. Hope all is well. How's father going? I barely see him. I'm sick. Weight loss. I know you can't hear me. Talk's too loud. Use the same thing as he. I can barely read my lips. I told you it's loud.
The ground quakes.
There you go. I told you, for some reason, the sampler goes over the same channel as my microphone, so I can't do both. It doesn't let me. I don't have the tech. So thank you very much, Hurricane Barca, as well. 4 months of power. Appreciate you guys, but we will be having some cool ass shit coming for you in the next month or two. I've got some really cool stuff that I'm excited to share with you guys. PoE2 is what we're looking for. Get your drops now. I cannot. Okay, so we're about 5 minutes out. I'm super pumped to see where this game's going to be heading in their like this massive content update. I'm a big action RPG fan.
That's funny.
Also a big fan of Mark K91 throwing in the big time drop. Speaking of, thank you for the ×5 big man. Mark, appreciate you. Like for me, I started with action RPGs, of course, like many of us did with Diablo. And Diablo 2 was a big game of mine. But PoE was the spiritual successor to Diablo 2, in my opinion. They improved upon it in ways I never thought possible. I sunk thousands of hours into PoE. PoE 2 has been a fantastic iteration into that franchise. They've carved their own path, doing their own cool shit and made it their own thing. And that's been great. And I'm super genuinely excited to see where they're going to be taking this franchise. And we're going to hear from them. And you're not going to have to hear with me until the end. And then I'm going to give you my thoughts. Because I have some things I would love to see. I'm excited to hear what they've got to say. Here for the ad stream. Appreciate it, Don Project. I absolutely need them to add travel skills to all the characters. I mean, God, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to talk to them personally. So I'm pretty excited to see just what they got. And then I can make my judgments. But I'm pumped. I am pumped, boys. I wish they would pay you to voice the ads. I can try. Stream starts soon. 4 minutes to go. Yeah, I won't do that again. That was a one-off. That was a one-off. Let me open up my brief. Let me just make sure we're good. We've got it set up. I'm following FTC guidelines. I am. We've got the ad in the title. We've got exclamation PoE2. We've got the panel. We've got the category right. We've got it all. All we're waiting for is for them to start, boys. I've done my part. They're going to do theirs, and we're going to be populating this stream in a minute. Why is your stream name now Peter? You can hit exclamation rebrand and have that question answered for you. I've heard they fixed the witch bug feature where the weapon didn't count towards demon from damage. Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out in 3 minutes and 12 seconds. You know, this is interesting because... Oh, never mind. There we go. Excuse me? Baking powder? Do my eyes deceive me, Lenny? Is that an X30? Broman making an appearance. A very generous offering from Lenny, who offers the heart. Thank you for the new shoes. Thank you. We're praying for a new class, Fat Wave. Pagarino Cappuccino, guys. I'm praying that all of you are going to smash the hell out of that exclamation PoE2. Just go and follow it. Hit the link so that they can know that we are legit. We're a real channel. You know, the first time I played this game, though, I had the same feeling like when, oh, wait, take it easy. Don't excite too much. Okay. Okay. I'm watching live on the Path of Exile Twitch channel. We click links in full. Thank you, Yuki. I appreciate you. I'm being careful. I'm gonna be in. I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be chill. 2 minutes from content drop. Everyone give it up for my lovely wife. She has been an absolute superhero taking care of the baby. Little Premiere 3. Did you pin the link? I will, and now. You got it. Thanks, Meef. And Yuki we found this new thing where the baby has been so cute. She's also been taking care of me. That's even better. Thank you, Banana. That's an even better one. I think that's she's taking care of Premiere 3, she's taking care of Premiere 2, she's taking care of the whole team and 2 big babies. And what's amazing is even though I'm all masked up when I see my son, I have this little thing where he's been smiling so much. Here, I can show you guys really quick. It's been, oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. It's the last thing I'll be able to show you guys before we start I got 37 seconds to make this happen. Let me see here. This is what I see when I'm with the kid. I got 17 seconds to show you guys. I got...
Oh, that's funny.
It is... Look at that. Look at that conch whale. He's smiling all big.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and
Here we go.
welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Sun Priest's Incineration rare finisher effect by following the instructions below.
Just follow the
Now with
instructions.
that out of the way, let's get started. It's time to give you a teaser of what's coming in Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict.
The Third Edict, from Premiere 2 to Third Edict. Command me.
Karui! I have called you here to save our people. To save our way. Over the ages, we have known pain like no other. But we endured. And we became mighty. Now, outsiders dishonor our shores. And we have stood by, doing nothing. Hear my voice, ancestors! Show us your strength! Show us the true way! I understand.
This game looks so damn good. The graphics that they just nail it. What the hell? You fight Nathan?
The true Lakura Makoi will rise.
Oh yes, baby. 3 interlude acts, 35 new areas, 24 new bosses, support gym overhaul, massive, oh my god. Oh my god, just a single word of sprinting gets me hype. Just sprinting alone. Well, so, okay. Well, okay. 1 p.m. August 29th, so we're a week out.
Now, as you can see, there's a lot going on, and we have a lot to reveal today. We'll start by going over Act 4, the next chapter in the Path of Exile 2 storyline. But
I'm blocking content.
There's also 3 new interlude acts to get you to Endgame, which means we're removing Cruel difficulty too. After that, we'll be going through the massive changes to characters. I'm super excited to show you how I've overhauled the entire support gem system.
That's so
added new
peak.
skills, and yes, there are buffs. Next, we'll go over the Rise of the Abyssal, this season's exclusive league mechanic, and talk about the new rewards, crafting systems, areas, and bosses that it adds. After that, it's on to changes we're making to the endgame. Then it's time to talk about items, crafting, and oh yeah, trade. That's going to be a big one. We'll then go over our new supporter
Asynchronous
packs
trade.
and finish up with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat.
Oh,
And
sick.
after that, at 4 p.m. Pacific, hatch notes. They're not quite complete, but they should give you some nice details to chew on.
As a gamer from the PC era,
We've got a lot to
nothing's
cover
better
today.
than the word
But first,
patch
another
notes.
announcement. When the third edict launches on the 29th, we'll be having a free weekend for Path of Exile 2. That's right, Path of Exile 2 will be free
What
for
more
the
do you
first time
need?
without requiring an early access key. The free weekend will end on
Look.
September the 1st, so you'll have plenty of time to give the game a try.
Try it. It's
All right.
free.
Let's get started with Act 4. The story continues from the end of Act 3. Doryani has agreed to help you find an ancient weapon that can be used against corruption, the instrument of the Third Edict. The weapon was broken in ages past, but he believes that the pieces may be found in the Karui archipelago, the home of the Karui tribes. You will need to journey to Kingsmarch, hire a ship, and set sail. When you open the map, you can choose to sail anywhere you like.
Oh my
Act
God,
4
that's
is completely
fucking cool.
non-linear, and you can visit the islands in any order you choose. When you
Okay.
visit the pristine beaches of Whakapanu Island, the Karui whisper of a curse that afflicts all who travel there. Perhaps it's
That
related to
looks
the weapon
awesome.
you seek.
Damn.
Or maybe you will visit the volcanic shores of the Isle of Kin,
I
The
will not
Kin
go
have
to
been
the
more
Isle of
restless recently.
Kurdokin.
mining
Not
for
yet.
sulfite and driven by some dark force. Perhaps you will choose to consult with one of the local Karui tribes. Their ancient wisdom could hold clues to finding the Third Edict. No matter where you choose to go, you will
I
fight
want
dangerous
the. Obviously,
beasts,
I'm going beach first.
find fabulous treasures,
Never mind. I want that one. One-eyed Willie's treasure.
and battle incredible bosses.
A challenger!
Just so you know, if you've never played this game, the bosses are legitimately hard. This is not like some of the other action RPGs where you just they're a
There are 8
formality.
islands to discover, each teeming with its own flora and fauna. Act 4 contains over 100 new monster types, 16 new areas, 12 new bosses, and plenty of other interesting encounters. There's a huge amount to show, but we're not going to spoil too much
It's
here.
sponsored. I'm
We
not
want to give you a chance to
responsible.
discover it all for yourself. What happens after Act 4? Well, until now you had to repeat the entire campaign again before you could face the endgame. But after adding Act 4, the game is far too long to make you do that. We needed something else to do in between the end of Act 4 and the endgame. So what else could we do? Add 3 new mini-acts, of course, and we're calling them the interludes.
Okay, wait.
The interludes are a set of 3 temporary side stories that will be included in the game until Act 5 is released, that will take you to level 65 where the endgame can begin.
Oh, this is
The first interlude sends you on a journey back to Ogham. Renly has been leading the efforts to rebuild Ogham village after the defeat of Count Geonor, but there's a new danger afoot. The nearby town of Holton is surrounded by an impenetrable darkness, and each night their corrupted townfolk emerge to raid the local farmlands. You'll discover new areas and new bosses.
God. This
You'll need to
game
find
is
your way
so
through the
like
darkness,
the abilities always look so
uncover
sick.
the source of corruption,
Soon you will serve our master.
and defeat it.
Yes, I shall dance with their corpse.
And that's just the first interlude. The second interlude will have you return to the Vasteri Desert, where Asala has been given a sacred duty. When the skies align, the gifting of water requires a chosen Sekima to meet with the Selkari, guardians of the sacred water, but they're nowhere to be found. You will need to track down the Selkari, find those responsible for disrupting the gifting, fight even more new bosses.
I'm going warrior
Discover the
again.
secrets
I did
of the
monk
ancient
for a
ritual.
while. I'm back to warrior, baby.
Discover new locations,
I'm so back.
and ultimately help Asala carry out her sacred duty. Now for Interlude 3. As Royal Thaumaturge of the Vaal, Doryani had plans within plans to save his people from the cataclysm perpetuated by Atzeri's lust for power. One such plan involved sealing a group of willing Vaal deep in a great mountain vault near the home of the Asmeri, deep enough to
You
survive
go monk,
the
I go.
cataclysm.
I'll go warrior.
Even though thousands of years have passed, he believes that their descendants may still live, and may be key to defeating the beast. The journey up the mountain will be dangerous. New foes stand in your way. And the further up the mountain you venture, the colder it will become.
That's
Explore
cool.
caves of ice and enter the vault itself. who can say what you will find within? The interludes are 6 to 7 areas each and generally include 4 boss fights as well. When
6
you
or
put that together
7
with that 4,
areas
that adds up to
each.
35 new areas in the campaign and 24 new bosses.
Jesus.
It's worth making clear that the interludes are temporary. When Act 5 and 6 are added, the interludes will be going away.
Oh.
These are side stories after all. But don't worry, the bosses and areas that make
I
up the
think-
interlude are all part of the endgame. We're not just going to throw them away.
We'll look at all
And
the
with
classes
that,
at
we
the
don't
end
need cruel
to help you guys
difficulty
choose which
anymore.
one is best.
We do know that it was a pretty big chore to have to play through the campaign multiple times on each character.
Okay,
And
wait.
This was a huge reason that the campaign could feel like a bit of a slog when playing through again. But we do also have another new feature to address that particular concern as well. So let's talk about sprinting.
This is
In
all
030,
I
when you hold
wanted.
down the dodge roll button, your character will go into a sprint after they finish the roll. This is available on all character classes, and there's no limitation on how long you can sprint for.
Oh,
The
thank
primary
God.
purpose of this feature is to make navigating areas faster when out of combat. Because of that, if you do take a hit while sprinting, you'll fall to the ground. The best
Okay, wait.
idea is to use a skill when you see monsters. That'll break you out of the sprint so you can engage with no danger. If you
Oh,
do need
that's
to run away from monsters, just hold spacebar. You won't be vulnerable during the roll, and you're faster while sprinting than basically any monster in the game, allowing you to retreat from combat.
see that's
Sprint is a
fucking
pretty significant
perfect.
change to PoE 2's gameplay. What I like most about it is that we
I
can
found
accelerate
getting
the
away
pace of the
from
game
bad
for those who want
situations
that,
near
without
impossible.
having to compromise on PoE 2's more visceral combat systems. Okay, so that's the new extensions to the campaign, but there's a whole giant league to play through as well. I'll leave that to Mark to talk about later. And that's because what I want to talk about now is the new stuff for your characters. And probably
The
one of
thing
the
they-
biggest new systems here is with the support gems. Now, support gems are one of the most interesting elements to creating a build. They're what enables so many interesting mechanics and different ways to play. But PoE 2's support gem system has just never been quite right. One of the major issues is the limitation of only having one support gem of each type on your character. We didn't want builds to just become using the same 5 most powerful supports in every skill. The problem with this design, though, is that it's actually working against using multiple skills in your build. If you can only use each support gem on one skill, it means that you're encouraged to go all in on that one ability.
This is
We want
true.
to encourage you to combo your abilities, something needed to change. So with that in mind, we've removed the restriction of having one of each support gem per character. You can now use as many copies as you like.
What?
This should drastically increase the amount of possible builds and increase the amount of skill diversity.
That's a major change.
There are a lot of potential builds that suffered from the previous restriction. For example, a poison build previously couldn't add poison to more than one skill. They couldn't use stacking poison on more than one skill either. This severely limited your ability to combo with anything outside of the specifically designed poison archetype, but now you can. Many utility skills previously couldn't scale to endgame, because the supports that would make them scale were more useful to use on other skills.
This is the
You would
biggest
never
part right
speed
here.
up killing Palm with martial tempo, when you would much rather use it on your primary skill instead. There are more examples like this all over the place.
Yo, what up, Arthur? Hell diving?
In addition to that, though, we
Thank you,
thought there
1,000.
wasn't enough feeling of progression in the supports as you went through the game. There were only 3 tiers of supports, and many of the most important ones were given out at Tier 1. Also, there were no strict upgrades, meaning that upgrading supports when you ran out of sockets required quite a lot
Oh
of
my
thinking.
god, dude, this is
In order to solve these issues, we now also have multiple levels of many supports as you go through the game. For example, double barrel support gives you an extra bolt, but at the cost of 30% less reload speed. At Tier 2, the penalty gets lowered to 20%. But then at Tier 3, the support gem gets something new. It now reloads automatically when you heavy stun an enemy.
okay.
In some cases, the
nerd
highest
alert.
tiers might work a little differently, and you'll have to decide if you like the upgrade or not, depending on your build. For example, rapid casting. The first couple of levels gives 15, then 20% increased cast speed. But then at Tier 3, it changes to a new approach. For each different spell you cast in the last 8 seconds, you get 10% increased cast speed, which could be a pretty big bonus if you use a lot of different spells. So that's pretty good for upgrades through the campaign, but we wanted to add a little more spice to the endgame for supports too. And that's where our new system, Lineage Supports, comes in. You can
Is
think
this
of these like
the
unique
Umusume?
items, but for supports.
Sparks?
There are supports that are only available at endgame, but they're much more powerful. Like Ratha's Assault. It's an upgraded version of Double Barrel that reloads your skill as you dodge roll, as well as increasing the number of bolts it can hold. But it does mean that it's the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like unique items, many of these can be found from specific bosses. And there's a ton in the regular drop pool too. Some of them are fairly rare, others fairly common. Some of them are
I'm
build
taking
defining,
notes.
others are just straight up power upgrades.
Fuck.
All in all, there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame, so there's a lot of power to find out there. Now, the new support gems are certainly going to open up a lot of builds, but of course we have a huge range of improvements to individual character classes as well. As well as adding new skills, we had a big focus on buffing existing skills so that they can scale well into the endgame. There's a
That's
huge
what I'm
amount to
talking
cover
about.
here, so we're not going to discuss everything. We're just going to quick fire through some of the coolest changes.
Quick fire me.
We wanted to make cold a more useful element on the Ranger, so we've expanded the cold tools available. As well as increasing its range, Escape Shot now creates fragments of ice whenever it hits the ground.
Oh, nice.
These fragments explode after a short time, making the skill better for killing groups of enemies. But not only that, we added an ice fragment support that creates more of them when killing frozen enemies.
Warrior, 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 warrior.
And a new buff skill called Ice Tipped Arrows that allows all your arrows to create ice fragments. This already gives clear to rangers wanting to use ice. But to take further advantage of the ice fragments, Freezing Salvo has been upgraded to shoot additional cold arrows towards every fragment, giving you a nuke-like ability.
Oh. Okay.
We've also modified Snipe to consume frozen from enemies, dealing a huge amount more damage, giving you a nice ice single target option. And something you might notice about this is that the bonus is a lot higher against bosses. This is actually a change
They have
you'll see
not
throughout
announced
the
a
entire
class
game.
yet.
Since it's a lot harder to freeze a boss, you should get a bigger reward for it. Another theme you'll see throughout the game is making movement feel better. Toxic Growth
is a
skill
huge
that was
concern of
pretty
mine.
cool, but a bit annoying to use with the jump that it had. Now Toxic Growth is a rain skill, so you can spam it more easily.
Oh, okay.
And we've also added a new poison skill while we were at it, called Toxic Domain. It creates a small area around you that makes all your attacks create toxic growth pustules, but attached to monsters.
This is just being an IRL streamer. I just create toxic
Another skill that was
pustules
annoying
when
to
I
use
walk
was
around.
Electrocuting Arrow. It's now just a regular arrow,
I should
making it easy to
respect.
use. But it also means you
They
can support
buffed
it with
me.
projectile supports. And it now also has area of effect, making it a tool for more than just single target, and allowing it to scale into the endgame. We also added a new spirit reservation called Mirage Archer. This is a meta skill that allows you to create shadowy clones of yourself to use a skill of your choice.
Oh, wow. I like how they said they were going to
Of
go
course, one of the other big
quick
problems the
through
Ranger
this,
had was
and we're still on like
survivability.
the first class.
Evasion was the weakest of the three defenses, and we wanted to change that. Currently, evasion doesn't evade all types of hits in the game, so you're still vulnerable to things like slams or unblockable attacks. To make evasion characters more tanky, we're adding a new mechanic called Deflect. Unlike evasion, Deflect works on everything, and if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage.
Oh,
Items
Iris
can now give you a mod that gives you
deflect
some amount of
responsibility all the
deflection based on
time.
your evasion. And there's a bunch of it available.
Maybe
in
I
the
am a
passive tree
ranger.
too. Deflection is rolled in addition to evasion, so this is an upgrade for regular hits too. And unlike evasion, there's no maximum chance. You can reach 100% deflect against all hits if you spec into it enough.
Wow.
Of course, this is a buff that helps all Dex characters, so the Mercenary and the Monk, but especially the Huntress, are seeing big defense boosts from this as well. Speaking of defensive mechanics, let's talk about block and parry. Now, one of the big concerns on the release of the Huntress was parry feeling unreliable. One of the big reasons for this is there's a lot of hits that are not blockable, and thus not parryable either. So a huge balance change we're making is that now everything is blockable, except for specifically unblockable red flash skills that bosses use.
Wow. So now it's,
This makes parrying
unfortunately,
much
now
more
it's a
reliable.
get good game.
And not only
I'm
that,
in
but
trouble.
to make block and parry nicer to use, you now also move faster than before while using these abilities.
Oh, God.
This is a
I have
massive
no
buff for passive block
excuses.
as well. So to counter that, we did have to lower the max passive block a bit, but overall you should feel much safer. Fire skills on the warrior were not really cutting the mustard, so we decided
was
we
my-
needed to
that was
upgrade
my
a bunch
build.
of them, but also add some more as well. Let's start with a buff. Volcanic Fish are now branches into multiple fishes, giving it much more clearing potential.
That is so much sicker.
We've also added a new skill called Forge Hammer. This skill throws a molten hammer that does a slam at a distance.
No, I won't
You
do
can
that one. I'm
recall
going to
the
miss it
hammer
every
back by using
time.
the skill again if you like. But the cooler thing to do is to use a war cry near it. Using a war cry makes the hammer explode, making a bunch
Using
of
a
volcanic
what?
fishes
A
around.
war crime?
Volcanic fishes re-trigger when you slam them, so it's a great skill to make a flaming arena to fight a boss.
Hey, I will use it.
We also buffed Perfect Strike to have much larger area of effect, and changed Molten Blast to not always force you to move forward. Trust me, it feels a lot better to use now. The skill now has massively boosted chance to ignite monsters as well.
Oh, dude, I can finally play my favorite build. Look at that skill.
Cry.
That looks so
Ancestral
much more
Cry
fun.
Charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kalm's favor. After you do, use it to channel Kalm's ancestral power. Every attack will be
That's so
ancestrally
sick.
boosted with fire. Your very steps will explode, triggering volcanic fissures.
Action
And molten balls
RPGs
will erupt
follow
from your attacks.
specifically the rule of cool.
Warrior shield skills were another area we wanted to improve. Now that we've got sprint, we actually don't need to have a cooldown on shield charge anymore. And that
What?
also does more damage the further away you are when you use it. Shield wall got significantly upgraded AoE.
Oh
Also,
my
you can
god,
shield
this
charge
looks
right
so
through it
much
to
more
trigger all the
fun.
walls.
They took what was the meat
We
and
also
potatoes
added a new
class
shield war cry.
and have made this
Fortifying Cry
very
gives you a
fun.
defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your shield that empowers your other shield skills. And Magma Barrier now doesn't require timing in order to use. Just wait for your shield to charge up and block.
What? Dude, this is
Seismic
so
Cry
much
now
better
stuns
than...
enemies that are primed for stun.
Ah, man,
And
I
we
gotta
changed the
come
Sundered
back.
interaction with Armor Break.
I'm so
and
back.
That also gives a Sundered Armor debuff that makes enemies take 40% extra physical damage. Great for bosses. Ancestral Warrior Totem has undergone some pretty significant changes too. We wanted the skill to feel more like using an ultimate. That summoning an ancestor to fight for you was a big deal. So we've changed this totem to require 3 endurance charges to summon, and massively buffed its damage. It also now scales your weapon damage too.
Dude, that Fisher skill looks so
Since there's no
fun.
limit anymore, if you build around generating endurance charges, you can summon an entire forest of totems.
Like,
In order to make that easier, we added some new sources of endurance charges. There's now a support to make Perfect Strike generate charges.
that is the rule of
and a
cool.
support for generating endurance charges from heavy stuns as well. Speaking of totems, we wanted to upgrade the Warbringer. Among the other changes we've made to this class, Answered Call now gives an extra totem, and the spirits have just been generally buffed in many ways.
It's almost like a pet
Use it with your
class.
limitless
Look at
ancestral
that.
warrior forest to make an army of Karui that would make Tukahama proud.
That's crazy. Warrior
We've also merged
being
the
like
Grateful
a
Cowl
summon
and
god
Warcrawl's
is
Bella
not a
support,
what
so we
I
can get
thought
all
would
the benefits
be.
with 1 point. And Encased in Jade no longer removes the Jade when getting hit, making it a much better defense.
That
Next up, let's
skill
talk
looks
about
so
accuracy.
satisfying.
Accuracy was always intended to be something that warriors didn't need to care about very much so long as they're in
Exactly.
close combat.
Let
But
me just
unfortunately,
hit.
that's not currently the case. This was particularly annoying with skills like Bone Shatter, which you certainly don't want to mess with. So we significantly buffed your chance to hit at close ranges when you don't have much accuracy. Warriors shouldn't require any accuracy investment in order to hit with close range attacks now. We also wanted to improve armor.
Don't be
And one of the
intimidated.
major weaknesses of armor is the
Don't be
inability to defend
intimidated,
against
it's worth
elemental
it.
damage. In order to mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend
Don't
against
worry.
elemental damage. It's now available on items and
You
in
can
a lot
play
more
this game
places on the
solo.
passive tree.
You can.
One of the most important improvements we've made in 030 is to declunk the action and flow of shooting crossbows. You can now reload crossbows without any movement penalty.
Okay,
But not
now
only
that, if
all
you're a
skills that can be
crossbow
used while
user,
moving now slow you for a shorter amount of time.
that
This
is
change
such a
benefits
quality of
everyone,
life
not just
upgrade.
crossbow skills. With both
That
of
is
these changes
so
put together,
huge.
the run and gun playstyle feels much better.
It's not
It's
the
hard to
stop
explain
and
how
gun.
important this change is for the feel of the class. The Mercenary is also a good chance to talk about how we're rebalancing to make comboing skills much better. Take Shock, for example. It buffs damage and lasts 4 seconds right now, but that isn't really giving you enough time to take advantage of it. If you're going to add a lightning skill into a build that otherwise wouldn't use one, we need to make mechanics like this much better.
I would say
So
start with
increased
the
shock
free
duration on
upgrade,
monsters to
man.
last 8
It's
seconds.
all your stuff is saved over and you get the full game.
And skills like Plasma Blast, which are intended to be good at shocking enemies, now increase the damage bonus by a lot more. You'll find changes like this all around the game. Chill now lasts 8 seconds, giving you more of a reason to weave in cold damage. Freezing skills are better at freezing. Burning skills need to cause burns that last longer. But making skills like Permafrost Bolts and Incendiary Shot double down on how they're supposed to be used, it makes
Like,
using them when you're
it's
building
hard
alongside
for me
other
to put
skills
into
much more
context.
likely.
Like, I love this.
We're also making sure to
It
buff
wasn't just
specific
make
combos
the
too.
moves do more damage.
Freeze explosions from
which is
frag
what
rounds now
sometimes
change
buffs
nearby
are,
enemies.
right? Like, they're just like, everything, you're stronger now. They have
using high velocity
fundamentally
rounds with armor break will now
redesigned
fragment the opponent's
why
armor.
the moves do more
This causes
damage
monsters
and
to take a
how to
portion of
play the
high
game
velocity rounds
better.
damage with every subsequent hit, even tiny pellets. So that means following with a
The
shotgun blast is
synergies
way more
are
effective.
actual synergies.
Now there's a lot more buffs to crossbow skills, but for now I'm just going to talk about the new one we added, the mortar cannon. This one lets you socket any grenade skill, and using it will summon a cannon which loads and then fires the grenade you choose.
Oh my god. That's so sick.
Another issue on the
Exclamation
mercenary were
PoE2.
banners.
Follow my link.
They were just not very
Go
good,
ahead.
so we're doing
Don't
a
be
big
shy.
upgrade to them.
Water's warm.
They now last longer, don't disappear when moving out of them, and we removed the Valor mechanic. They now just give a much more consistent and stronger buff, and you can use them when you get enough glory. On which, one of the main focuses was making various minion types more useful to use together.
I think this is the
Melee minions in particular were just not that great
The mouse
compared to ranged
class.
ones. As a starting point, we just straight up removed the requirement for minions to have accuracy. Attack minions now always hit, which makes them way better.
God.
Brutes got some good numeric buffs, but we also added a new command skill where they do a war cry that intimidates enemies and detonates any frozen monsters and allies around you in a big cold explosion.
Wow.
We've also changed the Frost Mage's command skill to an ability that adds ice armor to your other minions, adding a layer of defense. And
Oh
it makes them deal
wow.
cold damage back to the attacker as well. The ice armor also makes the minion count as frozen, so the Brute's war cry can detonate them too. Unearth was changed to work on corpses of your dead skeletons, allowing you to summon the minions more easily in boss fights.
That's
And they
also
also got a new
massive,
jump
by the
ability,
way.
allowing them to get into combat faster.
Your dead skeletons can now be summoned is
Ray
so
Spectre was also
huge.
feeling pretty weak for the spirit cost they have. To be honest, we were a little afraid of these when we first balanced them. We've both decreased the spirit cost for a large range of monsters, and have significantly increased Spectre damage too. They should feel a lot more impactful.
I mean, like bosses would be
There's
almost
also a lot
it'd
of
just
new
be so
spellcaster
frustrating
weapons with
sometimes
newer
as
cult
a
skills.
witch
But I'll just talk about one of them that I thought was particularly cool.
because you just ran out of stuff
The
to
Reaping
summon.
Staff is actually a wicked scythe that gives you a new ability called Reap. When an enemy is low in life, you can dash forward and rake enemies with the scythe to cull them instantly, healing you. It can also inflict critical weakness on enemies too. Now, there's a lot of balance changes in the Witch's Ascendancy classes, but I'll just talk about two of them for now. On the Blood Mage, you were previously required to spend your first points on Sanguimancy, which really was supposed to be the downside for being able to access the powerful abilities on the rest of the class. In order to make picking the Blood Mage a better early option, we've made Sanguimancy free, unlocking the power of the rest of the class immediately. On the Infernalist, the Demon form wasn't something people were really using because you lost your weapon stats while transformed. Well, you no longer do, so it's a much better option now.
Jeez,
On the
man,
Monk,
you
the
could.
wind skills needed a big upgrade for sure.
That's
Staggering Palm can now stack up its duration if you use the skill multiple times in a row, so you can keep the effect of all your skills throwing up wind much more easily.
wow. When they
Wind
said
Blast had the purpose
buffed
of building
every
up to
class,
dazing an
they
enemy,
were not
but
kidding.
dazing just wasn't worth all that effort. Now it just dazes on hit, meaning a single Wind Blast will make all your skills stun enemies more easily.
Oh, brilliant!
Following up with Vaulting Impact on a dazed enemy previously did a bunch of stun. Now it allows you to break your enemy's stance. When their stance is broken, following up with a fast attack will do way more damage. A cool build that certain people always enjoyed in PoE 1 was hand-to-hand combat, but until now we just didn't have a real way to make it viable. Well, that changes now. The Monk, as a true martial artist, now has the ability to learn the Hollow Palm technique, a keystone that lets you use all quarterstaff skills while unarmed. All quarterstaff attacks now have a special unarmed version, and you get further bonuses to all your attacks from stacking Energy Shield and Evasion on your character.
What? That's almost like a new
A new
class.
keystone we also added to the Monk section of the tree is Walker of the Wilds. This changes Mana Leech to work with elemental damage instead of physical, which is pretty useful for all those elemental attacks the Monk
Jesus,
has.
look at him just
But it works well for the
clean.
Ranger too. Now, one of the least used Ascendancy classes in the game is the Acolyte of Chayula, so we knew we needed to make some changes here. One of the key things we had to do was make the chaos damage that the Acolyte can do much more useful. So we've added a new skill, allowing chaos damage to ignite, shock, chill, and freeze, embracing the elemental prowess of the Monk in a truly chaotic fashion. In addition, he can make all of his chaos damage leech. And we've buffed Into the Breach and Embrace the Darkness by moving the effects of the 4-point nodes into the base skills.
This is
He
crazy,
also
man.
gains a new notable, Grasp of the Void, which leaves void illusions behind you as you dodge roll. If they're
Oh.
killed, they do massive explosions of darkness, dealing damage to everything in sight. Now let's talk about sorceress skills. One of the things we wanted to improve on the Sorc is the ability to use multiple elements together more effectively. Now, this might seem small.
That looks
but
like
one
my
of the
favorite
things
stage,
pushing
by
you
the way.
towards using a single element is debuffs like elemental curses, which lower resistances of a single element. In order to fix that, we made
Imagine
quite a lot
this
of
in
game-wide changes
multiplayer.
to these kinds of mechanics
It's just
to
so
broaden what they
cool.
apply to. So for example, there's no longer 3 curses for fire, ice, and lightning. Instead, there's just a single curse that buffs all 3 at the same time.
That's awesome.
And things like Frostbomb, which gave you cold exposure, now give elemental exposure. You can use it
Oh
to buff
my
any of
God.
your other skills. We also wanted to make switching between different weapon sets smoother, so you can use different elemental staves more effectively. To do that, we've removed the weapon switch time, and now happens instantly. This applies
okay.
game-wide too. Now we didn't just want to stop there. We wanted to add some specific mechanics that work between different elements, and that's where elemental infusions come in. Certain skills can now drop elemental infusions. For example, when a frostbomb explodes, it leaves behind a cold infusion on the ground. After picking it up, you can spend it on one of any number of different skills to transform how they work. Spark will create a nova of cold-infused projectiles. Ice Nova will leave a chilled area on the ground.
Hell,
And we also added a new low-level skill that fires ice shards. Use it with cold infusion though, and the ice shards will explode. Orb of Storms now generates lightning infusions when you cast enough spells near it. And that's all spells, by the way, not just lightning. Once you have one, you could cast a lightning flame wall, which adds both fire and lightning damage to all the projectiles that pass through it. Or power up Ember Fusillade with lightning, which will generate arcs to nearby enemies as each fireball hits. Or maybe go lightning on lightning with arc. This skill is now a projectile, and by infusing it, you can go full Palpatine. Get fire infusions by blowing up monsters with living bomb. Then use them with Comet to summon a
you
giant
know they
fire
love
meteor
this
from the
game.
sky.
You know that they're
Or use
nerds
it with Firestorm,
who
which
love
transforms
nerd
it from
shit.
a small area into a much bigger one. Firestorm is unique in that it can be infused by multiple different elements at the same time. Add an ice infusion to rain down ice at the same time as the fire.
Lightning
And add
and
lightning
Bolt
to add
are
deadly
my
strikes from the
favorite
heavens
as
into the
well.
mix.
Of all the elements, although that Fire
Or use a
Fisher
level
from
3 to generate
Warrior
a storm
was
that is
so
truly
godlike. Oh my
apocalyptic.
god. That looks so
Cold
peak.
Snap has been simply turned into Snap. Previously, you could use it to shatter ice, but now it works to detonate all of the different elemental ailments and makes them leave behind infusions. And just like how you could previously use it on Frostbolt, you can now also use it on Orb of Storms and Solar Orb to detonate those as well, which means you can create many infusions at once. We also have a Spirit Reservation skill and a support gem to help generate them too.
Okay. I need
On the
major
passive tree,
nerd
we
alerts
added quite
here.
a few
This
new
is so
keystones
much
to the
shit going
sorceress
on at
section.
once.
Here are a couple of examples.
Don't be
Black
intimidated
Flame
by
Covenant
that.
keystone converts your fire spells to chaos and causes your ignites to deal chaos damage. Your fire spells and ignites will also turn purple. The Ritual Cadence keystone causes your invocation skills to trigger more times, but makes them trigger periodically over a longer duration instead of one. Great for those
They have not
auto-bomber
announced a
builds.
new class yet.
Now, in addition to skill changes, we've added a lot more options for the passive tree for each class.
Honestly, I'm 41
Overall,
years
there are
old.
more than
I
100
like
new notables on the
passives.
tree, usually
I'm a
around
big-
20 per class, along with smaller
What?
clusters as well. Check out the old version. And here's the new version. It's a lot more dense, and there's more interesting nodes than before.
Okay,
we
now
probably
you can
can't
be a
go
little
through
nervous.
Too many of these in the live stream, so I'll just show you one from each class's area of the tree. We tried to be a lot more thematic with the new nodes. So for example, the Molten One's Gift. It lets the benefit of Armor Break apply to your fire damage.
Yes, more
Or how
Fire
about
Fisher for
Last
me.
Stand, which gives you lots of stats as your situation becomes more and more desperate. A lot of these have themes aligning with ascendancy classes. Like for the Gemling Legionnaire, for example. You have crystallized immunities, which makes you immune to different status ailments depending on which support gem color you have socketed the most.
Oh, whoa.
Another
Which you can now use
ascendancy class
repeats.
align notable is Sanguimatic Rituals. It allows arcane surges to generate life instead of mana, unlocking that support gem to be used with the Blood Mage Ascendancy.
What?
In the Sork area, you'll find these Archon nodes that allow you to convert all of your elemental damage to a specific element. You become a Lightning Archon when you spend enough mana, after which all your skills will be converted to Lightning, and you will do extra Lightning damage as well. We have ones for Cold and Fire too, with different triggers. Here's another cool one. Elemental Practitioner gives crit bonuses if you've triggered a skill recently, while also making crits generate more energy for triggers. Or maybe you'd like the Great Boar. It gives you a reason to stack dexterity to make you tougher, giving a bonus to life and stun threshold.
I was the year of the boar.
Or the Cunning Fox.
I
It
am
straight up
not.
gives you 5% quality to all your gems.
Wow.
Now, another major change is attribute requirements. We felt like players probably had a few too many nodes and attributes and not enough in interesting passives. So we lowered attribute requirements by 25% across the board. That means you'll have more points to spend on interesting notables rather than just needing to allocate more strength, dex, and int.
That's awesome.
Now, there are way more changes than just these. These are just some of the cooler ones we wanted to show off.
That
But
is
I'd say
like
that's just about enough for now.
They just kind of
We're not
threw
even
that one
half
in there.
done
That's
yet.
huge.
So I think it's time that we talk about the League, the rise of the Abyssal. And to do that, I'd like to hand things over to Mark.
As you just saw,
Oh my God.
even though there are major changes to the campaign for this update, we want to make sure that every time you come back for an expansion, each area feels different with something extra going on. It is really important to make sure your experience when returning between expansions is fresh and filled with new content. And the way we did this was through leagues. Every expansion we make has a league, which not only has a fresh economy, but also has new content exclusively available in that league. So, let's delve into the details of what Path of Exile 2's first official league is bringing to the table.
Let's hear it, baby.
The Abyssal are a race that have mastery of forbidden magics and necromancy. They were thought to be extinct, but have merely been biding their time underground.
They might be good
You
guys.
first encounter signs of the Abyssal in Clairfell, where you discover that during the night, weaker members of the Undead Legion have been attacking the encampment. The townsfolk require your help to investigate where the monsters are coming from and put a stop to their attacks.
The Undead Legion is bad? So it's really cool. Okay, wait. I have to take
As
another
you
note.
proceed through Rayclast, you'll find fissures in the earth connected to larger pits. The monsters normally inhabiting the area are being affected by it, harmed by it even, having their souls eaten to strengthen the Abyssal underground.
This is such a cool
As you
concept.
defeat the monsters, the fissure closes and Abyssal emerge, angered by you killing their food. Once all those fissures have been sealed, the pit activates, and more Abyssal pour out. This is where the larger and more
Whoa.
dangerous monsters reveal themselves, as hordes of Abyssal spew out from the pit to take your soul. If you kill a magic pack, then magic Abyssal arise. If you kill a rare, then a rare monster will emerge from the pit, having absorbed some or all of its modifiers for itself. This means the monsters emerging will generally be more difficult and more rewarding, as each modifier gives better rewards. If you are able to kill them all, the pit will seal shut. As each pit is closed, it reveals a potential reward. Abyssal troves will rise up out of the pits, allowing you to get some epic loot. Areas often contain many pits, with many fissures, and the amount goes up as you progress through the game, getting more intense.
That's crazy. So it gives like all
It
the old
doesn't stop
content
there.
now
When monster
has
mods are absorbed,
a kind of
they
new
have
feel
a chance
to
to
it.
become infused with the dark necromancy, transforming them into abyssal modifiers. For example, you defeat this monster with the Mana Siphoner modifier. Their soul is eaten by the pit, and a rare monster emerges. The Mana Siphoner modifier has transformed into Soul Siphoner, and is now amplified in danger and reward.
Shit.
Abyssal pits also interact with other monsters and
That's
mechanics.
my new skill right there.
If you defeat a rogue exile that's near one, it'll be revived as a Lichborn
Look how fun
that has
that looks.
multiple abyssal modifiers. Lichborn
God, that
exiles
looks so
even
fun.
have their own unique jewel they can drop, if you are lucky enough to encounter and kill them. If an abyss spawns near a boss, killing it will summon a gigantic Giga Larvae creature.
Oh God, that gives me indigestion.
Monsters imprisoned in essences near abyssal pits are affected by the abyss too. They will come with an additional new essence item that can be used to craft your items. So, that's your bread and butter of the Abyssal League. Kill surface-dwelling monsters, kill the emerging Abyssal, close the fissures,
Profit.
overcome pit encounters, and reap the rewards.
Got it.
There's a lot more to this league, however. As you complete Abysses, you can find ancient pieces of bone, preserved from the remains of fallen Lichborn. These are one of the many rewards for your mission to seal the pits. You can use this on a rare item to imbue it with Abyssal magic, adding a special hidden modifier to your item. But how do you reveal it? In Act 2 of the campaign, you'll encounter a new area. This area is overrun by the Abyssal and the Lost Men. After clearing through this area, you'll find the Well of Souls, a giant cavity with a massive vortex of souls swirling beneath you.
Wow, that's so sick.
So how do you reveal the mods on your Abyssal-infused items? Obviously, just throw them in, right? Yes, that's exactly what you do. Before throwing it in, you are given the option of how you want to transform it, in the form of a choice of 3 different modifiers.
That's so
Once
fucking
you've chosen
sick.
your desired mod, throw it in, where it will absorb the power of the souls, and the ominous creature will then retrieve it for you. These modifiers can be ones from the core mod pool, all the way through to specialized modifiers that cannot normally appear on items. During the campaign, you can use it as a way to more easily add useful existing mods, but during the endgame, there is a whole set of new and powerful mods you can add to your items. Like this mod for crossbows that allows you to place an additional ballista totem.
God.
Or this one that adds spirit to your staff. Or this one that allows you to generate more combo with your quarterstaff skills. And speaking of endgame, you can also use the system to craft waystones.
Tier 13.
With a preserved vertebrae fused into your
Which
waystones,
Twitch is adding
you can
to
get some new
subscribing.
modifiers
Thank you.
that push difficulty and rewards to new heights. Here are some
appreciate
examples of
that.
those mods. You always get a choice of 3, so you can avoid anything you don't think your character is capable of.
That's such a sick update.
With this modifier, the natural inhabitants of the area are all spawned near abysses. And there are up to 9 additional abyssal pits in the area, making it just a full-on abyss ruckus. Or this one, which causes the final abyssal pit in the area to always result in a boss encounter. Be
Okay.
it either one underground, or one that emerges out.
What the
There are
hell?
dozens of these waystone modifiers in total you can get from this crafting. That covers the new crafting mechanic. So what's left? Well, we talked about how when closing pits you can get abyssal troves.
Yep.
But sometimes when closing an abyss, you'll reveal an underground cavern that leads to the abyssal depths. After jumping into the depths,
Cavern?
you'll find an abyssal city, swarming with legions of the undead. When underground, every single rare abyssal enemy will have an abyssal modifier. And at the end of the dungeon, you'll even find a rare with a more powerful Lichborn modifier. Once you're able to defeat this powerful rare, you can also find some nice rewards. Aside from the entire area being valuable due to the abyssal modifiers on the monsters, it has its own specific drops too. One example is a set of lineage supports that can rarely be found in these depths, like Kurgel's Leash. This support empowers both you and your minions when you command them, granting unholy might to you both.
I think
Another depth-specific outcome is a set of omen-like items that amplify your abyssal crafting.
yeah, that had the green abyssal
Additionally,
text of what
we're
you
adding
chose.
some
That'd
new
be
socketables
nice.
that can drop from the abyssal depths. Take Ulaman's Gaze, which can be socketed into your armor. These are a bit special in that you can only have one equipped at a time, but give some pretty powerful effects. Think of them as almost a unique socketable for your equipment.
Wow.
In the endgame, where you can still find depths, you also start to find a different type of underground chamber. In these areas, you'll find an ancient spire, a device being used by commanders of the abyssal factions to plunge Rayclast into a lightless void. Your goal is simple: kill this commander and destroy the spire.
Man.
There are 4 bosses in the Abyss League, and there are some pretty cool uniques available from them. An example
don't
is this
feel
belt,
intimidated. This is
Darkness
all
Enthroned.
extra content here.
It has 2 sockets. But hold on, socketables don't work on belts. Well, this belt has a special mod that allows it to count as a different slot for the purpose of socketables.
Wow.
This one, for example, counts as a helmet. I kind
What?
of want one that counts as a body armor. I wonder how rare that one is. You can also find this unique jewel, Undying Hate. This jewel transforms part of your passive skill tree into an abyssal version, and has multiple depths. The deeper it goes, the more of your passive tree is affected, allowing you to fulfill your fantasy of becoming part Abyssal Lich. Now, the last thing that Abyssal commanders can drop is a Finger of the Lich. But what use do you have with a random undead finger? Well, the next time you return to the Well of Souls with the finger in your inventory, your character will
a lot of
almost
this stuff
feel
is for
compelled
long-time players, and they're
to do
geeking
what, though,
out
you might
because
ask?
of
To jump
customization
in.
options.
The items you threw in came
this
back
game
more powerful, right?
Does
So
allow you
what's
to
the worst
grow
that
with
could
it.
happen? Well, you will just have to find that one out for yourself.
And there's a really helpful
Along
in-game
with the
community
introduction of Act 4
and players
and
that
the
have been very
interlude,
supportive.
We will be adding 25 new in-game maps. These maps will contain
This is
all
coming
the
out the
new monsters
29th.
and bosses we're adding,
So about a
improving
week.
variety and giving you opportunities to experience the new boss fights many times. Let's take a look at some
God,
examples.
these stages are so great. I still call them
Rock Pools
stages.
is a map where you explore a shallow
What up,
rocky
Heavy?
coastline, surrounded by coral and filled
Look
with
how
sirens.
great this game looks, though.
At the end is a giant goblin king boss, ready to eat sulfite and squish you like a bug.
Jeez.
Holton is an Ezomite township which has seen better days. Explore and clear the township to find a gothic, reaper-like boss with the ability to manipulate storms and fry you with both lightning and wither you with chaos.
God damn. Oh my god.
Given some of the new bosses added are a bit more epic, such as the Act boss and final bosses of each interlude part, it would be a bit of a waste to just use them as regular map bosses. Instead, we'll be adding some new mechanics to the Atlas that use them.
That's
These
so
start
crazy.
appearing pretty fast into the endgame and will help bridge the gap until you do your pinnacle
Look
bosses.
at all the places you can check
In the
out.
desert biome, you can encounter a wild sandstorm. 3 maps around the sandstorm contain a device you must activate. Upon doing this, the sandstorm's magic is disrupted, revealing the map inside and allowing you to access it and find the cause. This presents itself in the form of a boss, similar to the existing Citadel bosses. This boss is a Faradin Swordmaster, who has been blessed with the power of a time gem, allowing him to take his swordsmanship to the next level by replicating himself, maneuvering rapidly, and severing
God,
the
I'd
fabric
get
of
my
time
ass
itself with
destroyed
his
by this
powerful
guy.
slashes.
Oh, fuck.
In the water biome, you'll encounter a giant maelstrom, where one of the maps surrounding the water biome connects to it, but the connection is obscured. You must run the maps nearby, hoping to find a beacon, which will remove the maelstrom and reveal the connection to that map. Another example is this Vaal Vault in the mountain biome.
It's just the amount
But
of
how do we
player
get
choice
inside?
you have to keep things fresh
Running the adjacent maps to it will
is,
yield a key,
is
which you can then use to gain
astonishing.
access
It's
to this
overwhelming in a good way.
vault. Or you could just trade for one, I guess. Use the key to dispel the powerful force field surrounding it, leading to the Vaal Elite and their rewards inside.
I really want to get to.
These all contain Uber versions of the Act 4 boss and the bosses at the end of each part of the interlude. And each have their own exclusive drop pool of new lineage supports, which, as Jonathan spoke about earlier, are powerful support gems that modify your skills in pretty crazy
What an
ways.
update, though.
As an example of a lineage support which can come from the Faradin Swordmaster mentioned earlier, we
There's
have
that
Garo
shield wall
Khan's
skill.
Resolve,
God,
which
that's so
causes your
sick that you
critical
run through it
strikes
and it
to fall,
explodes.
but requires some mobility on your part to properly enable. From the boss sealed in the Vaal Vault, we have Paquate's Pact, which supports your war cries, causing them to inflict massive amounts of corrupted blood at the cost of your own life.
I feel like the war cries,
Additionally,
you know,
some maps can now spawn
little
summoning
bard.
circles, a room resembling an Ezomite henge.
I did really
Activating
like
this
being a
henge will
singer.
Spawn bosses. It's as simple as that. We'll also be making changes to how affixes and waystones work. as the current prefixes equals good, suffixes equals bad iteration isn't quite hitting the mark. We tried something new here in Path of Exile 2, but after seeing the feedback we decided we actually liked what we had in Path of Exile 1 more. Like Path of Exile 1, each affix will now be both difficult and rewarding. Waystone mods now grant an increase to the number of waystones dropped, and an additional specific upside attached to it. This means as you roll your map, they will continue to get more difficult and more rewarding, and allow you to customize the difficulty and rewards of your maps better.
Wow.
For example, the Frostbitten mod, which causes enemies to deal cold damage, also increases the rarity of items dropped as its upside. Whereas the Of Venom suffix modifier, which causes enemies to poison on hit, has the upside of granting increased pack size.
Wow.
Some maps will end up having a lot of rarity, some a lot of pack size, and others will just have a mixture of everything. Due to now having more modifiers granting difficulty, we will of course be reducing the difficulty per modifier to account for this. So, that's your Atlas, maps, and waystones, but what about Breach, Ritual, Pinnacle content, and others of the sort? We're making some changes around this too. The first change is that you'll now be able to invest 2 points into your specific League Atlas trees before having to run the Pinnacle content. There will be a specific objective for each type of content which grants you those points. For example, in the case of Delirium, it's simple. You just need to find and kill one of the bosses in a map, Omniophobia or Kosis. The rest of the points for each content come from the Pinnacle content. But we're making some changes to accessibility here too.
Unreal amount of
Currently,
content.
access to most Pinnacle content requires the same key at the easiest
I wish
and most difficult
about
version of the content.
50 of the games I played
This creates a negative
had
feeling where at lower
10%
difficulties,
of what they're doing.
instead of wanting to run the content, you're often better off just selling it to someone who can run it at maximum difficulty. To address this, each content will now drop splinters, which will not form into singular items. Instead of using the singular combined item in the realm gate, you can now just bring your splinters. Upon inserting the splinters into the realm gate, an interface will appear, allowing you to pick your difficulty, and you'll notice each difficulty has a different entry cost. This means if you want to run easier difficulties, it costs less, which also allows you to run this content much sooner into the endgame.
That's so much better.
Because these encounters now just require splinters, their corresponding Atlas tree no longer affects the difficulty of them, and has been changed to purely affect the content and maps on the Atlas. The Arbiter of Ash works a bit differently. Instead of requiring splinters,
guys.
he still needs crisis fragments.
Thank you for being here. I really
We now
appreciate
have
it. I'm
only
geeking
two
out. I'm
difficulties
just
of the
listening right now.
The first, requiring the existing fragments obtained from citadels.
This part
The
is
second, Uber Arbiter,
for
requires
returning
calamity
in-game
fragments.
players, but we'll go over
These come from
everything at the
Citadel
end
bosses
together.
also, but only
because
once you've allocated the
a
maximum
lot of the things
number
they
of
announced
points
at the
in your
beginning
boss
cater
Atlas tree,
to new players.
ensuring those citadels are at their highest difficulty level. Since we're talking about Pinnacle content, we also felt that the leveling curve in the late game was a bit too steep.
This is for Po nerds.
We've smoothed this out a bit so that it's easier to get to the mid-90s.
So we're going to ask them in chat
We've also added some new in-game unique items. Let's
what this
take a
means
look
for
at a couple.
us. So take
Thunderfist
notes
is a pair
if
of
you're a
gloves
Po
that grants
nerd.
Crackling Palm, a skill which empowers your unarmed attacks, granting the ability to call down the storms themselves on enemies you hit. Put simply, literally every monster you hit with your unarmed skills will be struck by powerful lightning. Pair this with the aforementioned Hollow Palm technique to embrace your true unarmed prowess in combat.
The splinter
Another
change
unique we're
does seem
adding is
great
Henekura's
because
Sight.
you might feel
Equip
gatekept
this
that you
amulet
can't
to
do
be
hard
granted the
content
power
because
of
of
the
your
Mother
ability
of
as a
Death
player
herself.
or your class
This
set
is
up.
reflected by
So this
granting
lets
you a
you
skill called Foresight. While you have Foresight, your dodge roll no
make it a little
longer
easier
avoids
for
hits.
yourself.
But instead, being hit while dodge rolling restores you to full life and makes you unable to die for a brief period of time. You'll notice when this does occur, a copy of your character appears and takes the full damage. This is you seeing
I need
future,
this
as if
times-
you hadn't been wearing the amulet.
I need this for like journo mode.
Ultimately, your in-game experience should be more streamlined. With new content to find, you'll be able to invest in your Atlas trees sooner,
Yeah.
engage with pinnacle content faster, have less FOMO running said pinnacle content, reach higher
Exactly.
levels easier, and do all of that while finding many new chase endgame items. Talking about finding items is one thing, but what about crafting them? We've taken a step back and looked at some of our crafting systems to make some notable improvements.
We'll talk about
Let's
this
start with
later.
essences,
So, Po
which
nerds,
suffered from an
please.
issue where
I have
the
a little
regular
list
essences were
running.
effectively useless and didn't give players the tools or
And I'll
excitement
answer that
a
as soon as I
crafting
can,
system should
Sleepy Panda,
provide.
but I think I
To
need about
alleviate
30
these
more minutes to hear
concerns, essences are
exactly.
being changed in a few ways. Firstly, they're being changed to function like regals and add specific modifiers with specific values, meaning you know exactly what you're going to get. We found that players were often
Exclamation.
bottlenecked by regal
PoE2.
orbs when crafting in the campaign, so this helps to fill that gap, allowing you to better upgrade your items.
Oh, damn.
For example,
Thank you.
this
dudes.
lesser essence of flames, which will be able to add a flat amount of fire damage to your magic martial weapons. Secondly, we're adding many more tiers. That lesser essence of flames, for example, has a regular variant and a greater variant too, adding even more fire damage with each upgrade.
The 29th is the
The
full
intention
out
of this
upgrade.
is so
but
that when you find one early on, you don't worry
they're
about
allowing
holding
a
on to it till
free-to-play
later
experience
to
with
use on a
everything
higher
carrying
level item.
over. Like,
You
starting
should
today,
feel
I
free to
think?
use them as they come to get powerful upgrades during the campaign.
Wow.
Lastly, our highest tier of essences, now called Perfect
Look at
Essences,
Granox
will function
gifting
like a
50
Chaos
to
Orb
the-
instead of a Regal. So
He's
it
having
will
a great
replace
day.
one of the modifiers on your rare
He's
items
pumped.
with the specified mod. Such as
Pod
this
Granox.
Perfect Essence of Flames. You'll notice this one doesn't just add flat fire damage like the ones before it. The Perfect Essences often give something a bit different, with some opportunities to be pretty damn powerful. There are many different essences, each with many tiers, covering many of the more core modifiers you'd want on items early on, through to chase specialized ones for endgame. Speaking of endgame, we really wanted to expand our crafting options for late endgame crafting projects. You might have noticed that at endgame, you get way too many transmutes. Wouldn't it be nice if some of those didn't drop, but instead you got something a little more powerful? At higher levels, you can now
Was
find
this actually a
Greater
big
Orb of
problem, getting too
Transmutation
many transmutes?
and Perfect Orb of Transmutation. These can be used on normal items to upgrade them to magic, ensuring that the modifier generated is of a minimum level. This is similar to how you find higher tier items on the ground, but for crafting. These higher tiers will also exist for Orb of Augmentation, Regal Orb, Exalted Orb, and Chaos Orb, meaning you can get all of the orbs required to take your item from normal rarity to a fully completed rare with guaranteed high tier mods. On top of these new core crafting currencies, we wanted to make sure there are powerful crafting bases to use them on. Now in endgame, you can start to find exceptional items. These are items that drop at normal rarity and are perfect for your from-scratch crafting projects.
That's awesome.
They can come with extra quality, up to 30%, or an additional socket to use your crafting socketables in.
Whoa.
And yes, they can be corrupted for yet another socket.
Whoa.
You can also get exceptional unique items. To add even further to your crafting arsenal, we've added a whole suite of new omens to ritual
Oh
content,
God, I'm
and
never gonna.
removed some of the more unimpactful ones that weren't being used. Some of the new omens include the Omen of the Ancients, which will cause your next Orb of Chance to not destroy the item, but generate a random unique of the same class. Or the Omen of Sanctification, which is my new favorite. This will cause your next Divine Orb used on a rare item to reroll the values of its modifiers, allowing it to exceed the normal minimum and maximum values, raising the ceiling on the new most powerful rare items in the game. This Omen will also cause your item to become sanctified. Sanctified items cannot be crafted, just like corrupted
Okay,
ones.
thanks, Atomic
so
Ink.
consider carefully
Take
when
care,
you
bud.
use this. Another is the Omen of Chaotic Monsters, which will cause your next Chaos Orb to reroll all modifiers on a Waystone, allowing you to fix your maps if you get some modifiers that are not feasible for your build. Besides these examples, there is a huge variety of new omens for you to discover in your ritual encounters.
Look how cool the characters look. But
With the release of Act 4, Notably taking place in the Karori archipelago, you'll be able to now find a new currency item, Henikora's Lock. Henikora, the Karori goddess of death, has the power of foresight and is able to see many futures, including the outcome of your next craft. So, imbuing her lock onto an item gives you that same power too. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting improvements, it's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items. And
That's crazy.
not necessarily just ones for yourself. So given that, it's time to talk about a massive one.
This is the
Trade.
asynchronous trade system.
It's finally here. The moment we've all been waiting for. Fully asynchronous trade. Over the years, the way players trade with each other in Path of Exile 1 has morphed from using the forums through to the endgame chat, all the way through to using the website. These systems, in all their iterations, work for a while, but with each iteration, new problems eventually reveal themselves. Be it requiring you to be in your hideout too much instead of out there killing monsters, or never getting responses from people who are either AFK or just can't be bothered. In order to finally solve this, and this has been a long time coming, we're adding a new system that allows you to buy items from other players without requiring the seller to be present. They can continue farming, killing monsters, AFK as they please, and can even be offline. With the introduction of King's March in Act 4, you will encounter Ange, assistant to Rog in the Meridian Free Traders Company. Over the last 2 decades or so, since Path of Exile 1's storyline, Faustus has handed down his knowledge and expertise to Ange, and she is now ready to take over his business. If you have a hideout unlocked already, you can immediately invite her there. If you don't have a hideout yet, you will need to acquire one. You can do this by completing a quest to defeat one of the bosses inhabiting an island in Act 4, allowing you then to take a slice of it for yourself, making it your new home and base of operations. Once invited to your hideout, she will now serve as operating your currency exchange, but also serve as the figurehead in your new trading empire. So, how does this new system work? In the existing trade system, you would list items for sale in premium stash tabs. And then when someone wanted one, you'd have to take it out for yourself and trade it to them.
This looks
Now, instead of using those, you can
pretty
give your
tough.
items to Ange so she can sell them for you. Each item must have a price set. The prices are set using in-game currency items, such as Exalted Orbs or Chaos Orbs. Once a price is set, other players will be able to find the item by searching for it on the trade website. Once a desired item has been found, you can hit a button, which will instantly teleport your character in-game to their hideout. Then, you can immediately purchase the item. And while there, if you want, browse their other goods, in case there's a
Wow.
good deal someone else hasn't yet discovered. You'll notice that as a buyer, on top of the currency the seller set for the price, it also costs gold to purchase an item, as Ange has bills to pay after all. As a seller, you'll immediately receive a notification when an item of yours is sold, and can also see an effect above Ange in your hideout when she has unclaimed currency.
yeah, no Oculus 10
Just go
SOJs.
talk to her, claim your currency, and
no more
continue
wug,
playing at your
wug,
leisure.
wug. What you got?
As many people already acquired premium stash tabs for the purpose of the trade system, we wanted to add a way for you to convert your existing tabs to merchants tabs, if you want. You can do that here, on the website, but only if you purchase those tabs before the release of the third edict. To clarify, the existing trade system will remain fully intact, so your premium stash tabs will not lose any of their functionality. We just figured people might want to switch over to this new system. We expect a
Wow.
lot of feedback around this new system and are looking forward to trying it out with you. As we are not able to test internally with an entire, thriving economy, there will certainly be some kinks to work out. Based on how the system goes, we will be adding it to Path of Exile 1 when ready, so any of the tabs you purchase
Wow.
will also be usable there later. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs.
Wow.
Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs. The
Today.
Justice and Trathan Executioner packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way.
Important note.
The Justice series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Claim glory after defeating enemies, or inspire your allies by calling down the Banner of Justice portal. The Sphinx Mystic hideout decoration will identify items for you, displaying them as it does so. This ancient creature has been presented with many items over the eons, so has some strong expressions to make on the quality of your wares. Become a true warrior, worthy of delivering the justice of the eternal gods with the Apostle of Justice armor set.
I mean, it does look sick.
This armor set also comes with a matching back attachment containing a set of scales to measure your worth. With the Apostle of
He's a
Justice
Libra like
finisher
me.
effect equipped, the Goddess of Justice herself will appear to decide on a verdict for slain unique enemies. Witness as she decides the fate of your slain foes. Will they ascend to be amongst the gods, or be banished to the underworld?
To me, I
The
might use some
Griffin
streamer
fledgling
bugs.
pet will be a courageous companion as you journey throughout Rayclast.
Are they going to Valhalla? Or are they
Take your
going
place
to
in the skies
kick?
in the plateau of the gods hideout. This hideout comes with many different sections for setting up your home or base of operations. In order to travel between them, you simply just need to walk off the edge. Like a true eternal god, you can float between the mountains on the clouds themselves.
Wait, this is your hideout?
The Trathan Executioner pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Trathan Executioner finisher effect is a brutal display of Trathan might, crushing slain unique enemies as if they were bugs beneath your heel.
That is insane.
As a Trathan Executioner, you're the perfect master for the ever-hungry carrion raptor pet. It has taken a particular liking to the taste of other pets, and at your command it will swoop down and eviscerate them, proceeding to satisfy its hunger by feeding on their corpse. The nobles of the 4 major Trathan houses had their mercenaries, but if their hired hands
Jesus
became notably
Christ.
irritating, they'd have to call in the Trathan Executioners. You can now embrace their methods and become brutality incarnate with the Cruel Trathan Executioner armor set. The matching Cruel Trathan Executioner cloak will shroud you in scarlet as you crush the skulls of your enemies and leave a trail of blood behind you as you build up a kill streak. Or use
sick.
the alternate variant to simply put a skeleton on your back. Be bathed in blood as you mutilate monsters with the Cruel Trathan Executioner character effect. The swirling blood
cape
increases
as
in
your
volume as
chain
your
goes
spree of
longer
slaughter
is
continues. Both
pretty
this
sick.
effect and the cloak use the same kill streak for tracking how much blood is shown. After a long and tiring day of executions, enjoy a relaxing game of dice with the
Yes!
Goblin Gambler's Hideout decoration.
That's
They'll
me!
definitely be playing fair, right?
All
The
right.
Pulverizer map device brings a horrid efficiency to punishing the damned of Trathus. Each map you open will execute the next victims. This map device in its true ruthlessness tracks the total number of monsters killed, your kills per second, and your largest kill streak up to the point of the map being completed. This is then displayed on a leaderboard so you can take a measure of you and your friends' violence at the end of each map. Additionally, any
Gamba,
microtransaction
my
from the
hideout,
supporter
boys.
packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. That's enough about cosmetics. Let's get into the Q&A. But firstly,
That was really nice. They
I want
kept
to
that
give a
very
huge thank
tight.
you for your ongoing support.
All right, this is from their Twitch
We're
chat.
just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 a.m. NZ time, or 4 p.m. Pacific, we'll post Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict's patch notes.
Right.
With the release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to seeing your experiences with Act 4 and its new bosses, fighting the Abyssal,
My God,
trying
what
new
an
builds,
update,
and
man.
crafting new items. We'll begin
No
the Q&A
druid.
shortly, so please get your questions ready.
But that was legitimately an insane amount of content. Holy shit. That was such an intense amount of cool stuff that they announced. I took some notes. A lot of the things that I'm super interested in are catered towards a newer player experience. But I think if you have been into it, you're eating good. What's up, Ray?
Hello, and welcome back, Exiles.
Oh.
After a absolutely monumental...
We got a little bit of a sound issue.
A suitably juicy Q&A session for you. Probably like 2 hours or something, so grab a cuppa, grab a snack, and settle in. I'm joined once again by Jonathan and Mark to discuss a lot. The patch that had to fix all the things, right?
That was the goal. I mean, we didn't quite get to literally everything, but we certainly managed to do a lot of things that we were very keen to do.
Yeah, you guys were telling me that this was uniquely nerve-wracking for you because I guess it felt like there was a lot of pressure on this one to fix everything.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we've obviously got a lot to prove.
It's not my fault, boys.
To make sure that we're like that.
I wore my tragical streaming action shirt today, Ray.
That we don't have answers to a lot of the things that people have been unhappy about. So, you know, like, yeah, we really tried to do as much as we could in one go to kind of do everything. As I said, didn't get to literally everything, but we got
Make sure
quite a lot of
Yuki
it.
didn't message me.
People will be a lot happier with this release than they were with the last one.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked to see how much
She
was in
did.
this one, especially given that you've moved to this kind of like 4 and 2 cycle of, you know, you just feels like you just released the Path of Exile 1 expansion.
That
which
is a
also
nice looking office,
a
by
big
the way.
one as well.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly hard. I mean, look, the
What up,
really
Scores?
hard part is, you know, having to make an act at the same time. Like that's a.
I'm feeling better. Not quite. I'm still struggling.
Once we finish the campaign, because we're going to be back to normalcy again. But yeah, it's a like, you know, what it does do is it mean that there's like a
So,
huge amount of
okay.
content to draw from.
That
It's a huge
was,
amount of new-
I mean, Path of Exile 1 and 2 is, my eye bags look better because I wore
It
glasses.
also meant we could take a bunch of that stuff and move it into the endgame too.
And I put on makeup.
So yeah, it's been.
I'm just
it's
so
been
sick.
quite a good one.
You know?
Early on, we had the process. Actually, we just literally grabbed my whiteboard in my office and we just wrote down every single problem.
Yeah.
Little bit of foundation. Have you tried getting? Why am I always
strategy
sick?
We've done to this degree.
I don't know.
This methodically before.
Right.
Yuki
Like,
said
okay,
that
we
the
have to
ages of
solve everything on this
39 to 41 are the 3 worst years for men in Japan.
Of every problem, and you know there were things in there.
Let me try.
Like,
Do I need to refresh it?
performance and things that aren't necessarily the actual, you know, game content.
I mean,
and
the
all
very.
this kind of stuff.
And I'm coming up near the end of my bad legacy, and PoE 2's update is what I needed to recover.
Like we're really trying to be honest about like here are the real issues.
And the reason it ends up being a bit nerve-wracking is because we had a goal to fix all of it, and we didn't get to fix. We aren't fixing literally everything. We're fixing almost, well, a lot. You know, and I'm sure a few new problems introduced here and there. However,
obviously, you know, as we're watching Twitch chat, there was a huge amount of stuff about towers. You know, we had a plan; it was on the list. It just unfortunately we couldn't get time to sort it. So yeah, that's one of the. It's probably the notable one. I
I feel like, you know, if you're going to invest your stock of your gaming stock,
Give people some
the Path of Exile team has consistently shown to be capable, caring, and genuinely invested in making their game better.
So
from the very
I think that
first
Druid has
game.
been uniquely challenging
Like,
to get shipped. It's been something
this-
we've been working on for a while now, and
This is a team who really cares about their experience.
Well, I mean, okay, so
and
we
their
started
audio's kind of messed up right now. They're hopefully going to fix that.
And that was the case for at least 2 months of the 4 months of development that we.
But if you like action RPGs, or if you've never tried one, get in while the eating's good, man.
Like, you know, we don't want to have.
I don't care for the game, but I get why people like it, and I have mad respect for the devs. They do a great job.
Like all of the concerns that people have.
Okay, I think you could say literally any subreddit says, and you're gonna have that response.
It kind of feels a bit bad to like be throwing in a class that's kind of effectively disruptive.
No new class, I get, can be very disappointing, for sure.
We can get both the class and all these other.
But I feel like with all the buffs they made, it's kind of like you're you're going to sample
the
4 or 5 new.
the balance changes instead.
I think it's going to be
So that's
fresh.
what we ended up doing, and obviously it was like a really hard thing to cut because obviously like you're going to have another one without a class. Like it feels really terrible. But,
Yeah, and he just said that. He said when you're not adding a class, you feel like you feel bad.
So therefore something had to go, and unfortunately that was it. But it means we've obviously got a huge head start for when we actually do it next time. And I mean, look, there was so much stuff that was cut. Like even as large as it is, like there's like ascendancies and all sorts of stuff that was gonna be there. And
I think you don't even don't tell me what's cut, Kings.
People are happy with
you guys did a great job. You don't have to. You're not beholden to the subreddit.
Make sure obviously.
I don't think if anybody walked out of here saying like, I can't believe it, X wasn't added, which I know the class one is the big one they conceded. You still have the buffet of new changes.
Like there's so much animation stuff that has to go into making each form feel right. So yeah, like that. But we'll get there. Like I don't think we're that far away from it now. So it's just a question of prioritization.
I wanted axes. Okay, axes and druids we can be upset about. I'll allow those two.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
You're getting a bit more ambitious as you go with each
that
class
is true.
too. Which
That
is
is true. Every class is a step up from the last in terms of that. Yeah.
Yes. So I guess on that note, do you have a vision for who's next after Druid, or is it kind of a race between them to see who ends up feeling the most
I've
finished?
always said that it would be criminal to go into full release without having swords. So that's that's
It's
kind
a
of a
little
pretty
bit
clear.
it's a little bit criminal to get this far without.
Yeah, to be honest, it is. Yeah. So I'd say that would be
weird when you think about it.
It's real weird. It's real weird.
So that would be an obvious candidate. Is making sure that we've got
So
that.
that people can.
You heard it here, folks.
Duelist or something. Most likely a sword one.
A sword class will be added. What's up, Cleeby boy?
You weren't satisfied with where they were at to be able to get those in. So that's the things you missed, but that's like the list of the things you missed. That and doing something with towers. So now we can.
Okay, you can't hear anything they say.
We'll jump into Endgame first, since I know the towers and stuff have been a hot topic for people. So we'll talk about the Endgame. This wasn't ostensibly supposed to be an Endgame update, from what you were telling me, but
I can't make it any louder.
Seems like a pretty big
Let me see if
update.
they're saying it.
Yeah, I mean, well, part of that is because we obviously get all the content that we produced for the campaign. We get to make all the in-game versions of that.
That sounds
that
better.
Actually adds quite a lot, but we did want to make sure.
I feel like as soon as
we weren't just being like,
I feel like it just got better all of a sudden.
Bosses. Like we wanted to make sure that the more epic ones that we added to the campaign.
It was me all
have
along.
some new mechanic for them on the Atlas as well. So that's where we had those various mechanics with like
sorry,
the
that was my
sandstorm,
bad.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like those kind of like Atlas events, and it really does contribute to the feeling of exploration to have more of that stuff. And then of course once you got that, you start getting into well, what rewards is it going to drop? Then we started to think we need a new category of rewards that these things can have, and that's we started to think about the lineage supports and that kind of stuff. So it just ended up kind of adding up to quite a bit.
No,
in the
it was
end.
not me.
But
here are the things that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about.
Like we had a design for that, but we just kind of haven't quite got to it. So
that was the notes I took during it.
One of the big things that it also I think will help bridge is the kind of mid-end game part, like that's still a problem that we want to improve, but like it adds quite a lot there because you're seeing that stuff on the Atlas a bit earlier.
What's the problem there as you identify it?
I mean, you've got this issue where effectively, and we are doing some stuff to address this, but effectively you've got like the pinnacles at the end, and you've got like obviously when you start you've got a bunch of content, but it doesn't feel like there's those kind of mid-end
So is the Q&A for about 2 hours that they said?
Kind of the issue that we're
and
trying to
just
solve.
a lack of direction, right?
Right.
I think
is that what they mentioned?
Guiding you, like the narrative kind of falls apart there, right? Because it's just like open world, and you want a bit more of telling you where to go, what to do, have those goals where you're like, I want to do this next and this next, as opposed to like I could do this or this or this. It's nice to have those, but it's nice to also have the things kind of directing you as to like this is exactly what I want to do. The boss I want to get to. So there's kind of just a big gap there. We want to add a whole bunch of stuff in the middle there. We have a huge plan, but again, it's like, we need to you got this.
It's usually around an hour.
On a campaign,
Thank you, chap.
You've got working on the end game, and you got all these like, how do you juggle all of these things? It's
not uncommon for Siggy D interview to go as long or longer than the announcement itself.
I would expect, next expansion. To
hey,
be
buddy,
way
what's
more
up, guys? Thank you.
In terms of fixing all of this, because it was on the whiteboard.
But we did
I want to talk a little bit as well about these changes.
I think is going to be quite a big one. Like it doesn't look like much from what we showed, but what it does mean is that you've got pinnacle fights earlier in your in the experience, and of course,
what I like about PoE is that they had an insane skill tree, but instead of caving to normies,
the difficulty, the access to the different difficulties,
and making it smaller, they made it bigger. They know what kind of game they want, and they're not compromising.
I think that'll improve things quite a lot.
That's the same with my stream.
So yeah, like
You got the league now.
I won't do walk and talks.
there's a league there
I'm going
too.
to keep playing Secret of Monkey Island and
wasn't really
obscure
a league.
JRPGs.
Kind of just like wasn't
not a full-fledged league.
Until morale
improves. A lot of
improves.
people here may not really even know what a league is.
Not catering to normies.
We kind of had it with Dawn of the Hunt, but yeah, I mean having Abyss in every
Unless
single area.
Uma Musume gets me 5,000 viewers again.
Abyssal
Don't
icons
mention
you
that.
can find on the map. You can't add them because they are in every area. The Abyss. So, and you have
Don't bring up that era.
Waystone crafting and stuff
We're
like that.
gonna do Monkey Island Earl IRL
existence as well.
with a walk and talk.
Combination of the league mechanic with other mechanics as well, which is something that I'm always keen for with leagues, is like have a bit more interaction.
Yeah,
So,
you were telling me that you had specifically made it so that Abyss would have specific interactions with basically everything else.
For sure.
Like if a rogue
Would I
standing there,
support them merging both games? No, I don't think so. Personally speaking, I'm a huge fan of game preservation, and I think that PoE 1 and 2 are very different, and I'm okay with them being
league mechanic.
individual titles.
Does this also have like
Personally
tree integration in the way that it would later on as it becomes like a core element?
No, not the way that's kind of handled is through some of the Waystone crafting.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that let's somebody take a note of IRL point and click adventure. We can make a thing that says like search, talk, go into, buy with our inventory. I'm gonna take another note really
the state
quick.
of it at the end. We see what changes we want to make. Sometimes we add it to the core game immediately. Sometimes later, and then we add it to the tree and decide how we want to invest into all the different things. But we try and have the meta progression, so to speak, of a league within the leagues itself, and not connected to the like core tree. Because you could have a separate tree. It is a thing you could do. But in this case, it comes in the form of the Waystone crafting.
You did an experiment with that recently in Path of Exile 1, doing that in a league, and you didn't exactly like the result.
Different because it's not a separate tree, and that was during Necropolis, yes, and it felt like because it's in every area, you have to take it.
Yes, exactly.
So that didn't work. We're not going to repeat that mistake. It could be a separate tree, but we just did it through the Waystone crafting stuff instead, and you can invest in the Abyss and
We're
juice
not
going to
be playing Fire Emblem anytime soon. We do need to play 2 games within the next 3 months.
Well, one of the
Pokemon,
I guess endgame issues that I've
Black and White
past was
and
kind of how
Yakuza
the Atlas
3
trees worked and progressed. And
I need help setting both of them
very
up.
top heavy. Like you had to beat the boss to get points to just.
Has anyone asked if we're getting the equivalent of divination?
So that's changed
cards.
now. Like the league mechanics don't scale difficulty of bosses at all. They're just about what the content is in map.
Yeah, and you get the points
I
way
feel
earlier,
like
so,
I don't remember what those were exactly, but they do have
we made
ways
some
to see
changes
what you're going to be crafting before you craft it.
Since last night, and thus it wasn't in the live stream accurately. It was talking about how you have to complete specific objectives like killing the Delirium boss and whatnot to get your points. It's actually just now you follow the quest line, and there's a point in where you get the tablet, which is after you find the league and you kill the, just do a Delirium, you successfully go back and get a tablet. You're also going to get the first 2 points there.
Yeah,
now
Pokemon BW.
So that you
I need some help.
Like,
I'm not feeling better yet, British bastard.
Points, you get 4 points before
but I'm slowly
the
getting there.
And 4 points from
I
the
feel like I'm in one of the purgatory
right now it's 2 and 6.
abyssal stages of Path of Exile 2.
Change last night. There's a good
and
chance
I'm just absolutely
adapting this a little bit more.
Struggling.
So it's even the
but
first
I've
2
lost
points come even
weight.
sooner
That's been
and
useful.
Even more obviously, like you don't have to RNG into finding a boss.
I'm so sick that I eat healthy.
Points now, which was mentioned there, no longer going to be the case.
But we just want to really make sure we're smoothing that progression
new
through.
warrior skill with the fire maelstrom looks so damn good.
It seems to be exploration focused. The recent updates you did in Dawn of the Hunt actually I felt were a big step forwards in that regard. There was a lot more exploration with the new unique maps, and even towers, I felt like when you're using them as an exploration feature, work quite well. Like
it just looks so freaking satisfying.
Map over the hills, and that's like a cool motivator that pulls you through, and that helps with that mid game issue you were talking about. Is that kind of the goal? Is to make this like really exploration focused?
It's certainly something that I really love. And
he's from the Blood Cape. It's yours, buddy.
Like
what's up, Evilness? Thanks for popping in today during the sponsored stream. I'm late to the party. Just got off work. What's been announced? All right, here is.
And so that's something that we need to look into.
Some of my patch notes that I took from it. One is they're having a free-to-play weekend coming up, and they're going to have all content be available, all progress saved towards the main game.
We will be addressing.
So if you've been itching to try the game but haven't yet, now is a good time to jump in for free and to get. You're not getting like get to level 10 and then you're out.
Some sort of
I love the idea with Act 4 where they had this map where you could go to all of these different new zones, but there's not a single path that you need to take to go them. It's like you have agency on which areas you want to explore first.
I don't think that's the part that
they're including 3 new interludes to bridge the gaps between Act 4 and Act 5. Those will be a time limited where you get to do 3 cool story segments of different types that have a bunch of new enemies, a bunch of new loot, a bunch of new stuff, but it's only going to be to bridge this gap, but it's going to help tell some new story segments and also give you some player expression. They've added sprinting to the game, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this is such a massive upgrade that it deserves its own mention.
Well, my fundamental issue
hiding is back on the menu. They used to have this system where you put support gems into your character skills, and you were relegated to choosing like one skill gem could, like once you used it, you couldn't use it in another part of your build. So if you had 6 abilities and you put a skill gem into this one ability, you were kind of incentivized to build around this one massive payoff move. But now they've removed that limitation, and you can repeat wherever you want to put in your skills of any kind. So if you have like 6 abilities and you really want to stack this ability, go for it. Use those skill gems. They added what I wrote was Warrior looks insane.
Yeah, do you think
that was a personal one? They're adding expansion content into older content to make it fresh for new players or returning players. So if you're replaying the game for the 7th time, they've added some new stuff while you're doing it, so that it gives it a bit more of a unique feel to it. My favorite class was Monk, but I wanted it to be Warrior, so I'm going back to Warrior, boys. Although they added Monk having just hand-to-hand combat, which looked insane. They're adding mods with Abyssal roguelike choices, so you get a weapon and you can augment it with like one of 3 different outcomes. That looked really sick. They added these things called splinters, which allow you to customize your in-game experience so that you can better choose what difficulty as you're getting into the in-game. And they added asynchronous trading, which is a kind of way to verify trades and sell your items to other players. Well, that's all way better because it can be done offline.
Have a bit more info.
The other thing is, I am not exaggerating when I say they buffed all the classes. They buffed all the classes.
Have the Atlas fundamentally.
I mean, honestly, the change from the crossbow not like stopping to reload is so huge because that was so jarring. So like having this dude be able to move while reloading is so awesome. The fact that they gave, instead of having like one elemental for the sorceress where it's not like, oh cool, I have to be one element because making enemies weak to this element. Now all of them are viable and they're encouraging you to just be a force of legitimate nature. I tend to gravitate towards melee classes. That's just because I want to be toe-to-toe with the enemy. I like that feeling. And but like, and the fact that you can summon your minions with Witch from your dead minions is massive for. There's just so much cool stuff.
To find the good stuff in the Atlas, but we just need more control.
I feel like it's gonna. We're inching closer and closer, so that we're getting where your choices are not right or wrong. They're just your choices, and they have a much bigger impact on your actual character than kind of being, narrowly guided into this is the best. Of course, there's going to be meta builds and cookie cutter stuff, but that's another thing is that Warriors, not you always hit now. With like, you would just be sitting there right next to it and be missing. That was tough, but now they have like, I think it was like 100% accuracy when swinging your weapons, which is amazing. As that would make sense.
Insane amount of content there. It's we wish Towers was in that list, but it will be. Don't worry.
A lot of reasons to revisit, even as a new player.
Like 100%. It was expected.
And a returning player, of course.
And,
it looks really fun.
Getting a chance to experience some stuff they didn't experience because it came later in last league.
Let's see what they've got to say really quick.
Then, so there's a good bit of extra stuff to explore there, maybe with this one.
Exclamation POE2! Follow my link. If all of you did it right now, and you just opened it in another window, they would see that this channel is worth investing in, and other sponsors would come knocking on the door, and that would be awesome.
Wanted to do that as soon
Much easier crafting too. A crafting rework, reducing the urge is massive.
Without having to add.
So just go hit the Peter edict. That is my edict to you. Follow my link. Just open it up. Take a look. Browse around. It takes you 1 second, and it means a lot to me and my family. It genuinely does.
About like, how can we possibly do that?
Speaking of, I'm gonna go check on them really quick and go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Hold on. One second.
So the interludes are not exactly the same as an act in terms of like, each one of them is like, a straight line, like you're going from here to here. There's no like, different. There's no complexity around the plot or anything. It's just like a single goal of like, someone's telling you to do this, go deal with it. There's bosses along the way. There's new areas along the way, but all of that stuff we can use in Endgame as well. So that means we're not kind of wasting any of the arts. The only thing we're really wasting is like a kind of like a little bit of like storyline structure around it. But as I said, it's not nearly the same level of like narrative structure as what you get in like a full act. And that's something that. And ultimately what we realize is to get from the end of Act 4 to the end game level, all you need is like 20 areas roughly to kind of to bridge that gap. And so that means that I was like, you know what, like with like 20 areas, I reckon we can do it if we're like, we're using a few mechanics from maps, we're taking some, we're doing a lot of art reuse, that kind of stuff. Like we can find a way to make something pretty quick, and it won't necessarily hold up for like years and years, but it will certainly be good enough for just like for a relatively short period of time. And by the time you get to that point anyway, like you're usually pretty fast as a character. You're like rushing through, just to get to end game. So I think that that'll end up being like pretty damn good for the time being. Plus, new bosses, new stuff to experience. Like, in my opinion, it was a no-brainer to do it compared to some weird thing like having to repeat Act 1 and 2 again or something weird like that. Like that just wouldn't have been good. And we really wanted to get rid of Crawl. I mean, like we never wanted Crawl to exist, right? It existed as a compromise. So being able to get rid of it is obviously something we were very, very keen to do.
There was something. You get to the Act 1 Crawl and you're like, I've know all this content. You're ultra powerful, and that's a little bit feel good. And then you're like, doing all this again.
This is a big problem with any action RPG.
You can do it. At that point you're like, just get me to end game. Like, Whereas when you're playing through, the new acts, like it feels. Well, with Act 4 and the interlude, it feels just a lot more natural and, still fun, and you're discovering stuff, and, it's not that just like, I just did this, like, for, at least for fast players as well, they're going to be like, oh my God, I just did this like a few hours ago. It's like just too short of a time.
Does it help if I click the link more than once? Junkie Platypus, it means a lot to me.
Which I think is really cool, which is very different. And,
go spam it to all your friends.
You don't really
use your VPNs.
Is you get to Act 4 and you're like,
that's my edict.
Okay, where do I go? Well, I have many places I can pick. I mean, Jonathan was talking about how their kind of interludes are kind of straight lines, but there's 3 of them.
But there's 3 of them. You can do them in any order.
There's a choice immediately there.
I love that idea of the interludes, by the way, where it has
when you complete one or partially complete one, it levels up
that
the other 2.
you can choose which ones to do whenever you want.
They bridge the gaps. You can do them in whatever order you want.
It'll be interesting to see the speedrun strategies.
It seems like that's it's not a crazy idea that other games should embrace.
Where another might be more passive point heavy and another might be more permanent.
Does PoE run well on PS5? It did for me.
So you go in Act 4,
when I used it, I thought it ran quite well.
And then you go into the interlude and you're like,
plus you had the benefit of just being a console gamer, which I like sitting on the couch.
And then swap to another.
When I played other action RPGs, I moved to the couch as well. Nothing better than a long day at work and then sitting down on the couch and just smashing some enemies and getting loot.
You can do an area of each, and then
you are a great guy. Thank you very much, Craddock.
Because I was planning on asking about.
I appreciate that.
Act 4 is like a sandbox,
and it's free to try this weekend. I think it's this weekend. And hey, look, I do promote it, Old Timer Mike. I do promote being a console gamer. I'm a big fan of video games.
Competitiveness of it, if you can.
That's what I'm a fan of.
Each time. Is there some good reasons to do it in different orders as well? Like you mentioned, like differences in rewards,
Yeah.
differences in challenges too, I imagine, for different builds?
Yeah, for sure. So, like the reward thing is like probably the main reason you'd change the order, depending on what's going to work best for your character right now. So, yeah, each one has got stuff that you know, like we're taking all the different.
Hope you're doing well, Mike. I know you're a big fan of this game.
Different a little bit.
Hopefully, we'll see you in it.
They were when they were in Crawl. Did you change what the stats they were?
Yeah.
I thought you did.
The passive point number is the same.
The free trial's August 29th.
The spirit is the same.
It might be.
The other bonuses, we've kept like, you know,
So wait, Vonatar plays it. He streams it on a PS5.
Some of the other bonuses from, like, for example, Crawls, the snake.
There you go. It's okay. That's the weekend.
We have internal names. The snake
content
chamber.
unlocked.
The reward from that will be slightly different because not all
thank you
three of
guys for
those
telling
options are
me.
available, and they're available in different ways.
not stream.
Some of it might
Okay,
be,
wait.
Some of it might not be, and some of it will be in Act 4. Some of it might be in the
on
interlude.
Steam. I read that wrong. Through Steam. Might be.
There's some pretty cool stuff in the interludes that. You know, you've obviously got your permanent bonuses, you've got your skill points, you've got just like which bosses do I want to do first or last. That's all nice, but you have a little other things subtle. You know, like the first area of one of them. I'm not gonna be as spoiler light as possible here. Has a wandering vendor.
It's Steam
that
Deck
sells,
and Stream
you know,
Deck all
guaranteed
over
rare
again. Will I be streaming it?
You can go and be like, I'm going to go there.
I'm not
going
to rule it out. Like,
if I'm a caster, and then I'll go to the other two acts because that might have like a straight up weapon upgrade. And then
no. It's very nice of you to say that. I accept compliments, Craddock.
So you
Don't
might
feel
be
bad.
like, I need some runes.
I wouldn't mind streaming it at all. I also play action RPGs as my cooldown by myself kind of games.
Find this for yourself. One of them has a nameless seer in it, and so
also it shields me from your.
I'm going to tell you which.
Your gaze of that I might misplay things.
Can make this decision, like maybe not those kind of secret ones. But
I think it doesn't. It doesn't say.
You know,
does it show it to you on the world map?
I feel like I already give you guys. Why am I nervous now? All of a sudden, I give you ample opportunity to make fun of me on any other games. I don't know about any about Helldivers 2. I don't think that's going to be in my immediate play order.
Been there, so you can't know until you've opened it, and then it will, or until you have been told
don't feel bad, buddy,
or advanced the quest, and now you see all the icons. So. Some yes, some not, and
be a bit of a discovery process.
But like, look, it's gonna players are gonna share information pretty damn quickly.
He knows that.
It's actually quite fun having all this different choice and different axes, and we haven't had this level of like. Sure, you've got Path of Exile 1 Act 2 is go left or go right, and you got a little bit of that in like Act 8, but. You don't.
I think there's
get this much like parallel things.
Tons of new weapons,
kind of interesting way. So,
right? I thought they said there was like a ridiculous amount. No new class.
Bit longer than we anticipate, given how we had to put this kind of.
I think there's like 100 new weapons. Didn't they say that?
In terms of like players finding it fresh and interesting.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Okay, good.
All three interludes kind of appear on one world map, so you kind of got 3 parallel tracks you can see on one map.
Cool.
No new weapon types.
Cool.
Decision paralysis.
They did say.
I think a lot of people just
they want
to
add a sword.
I bet that'll be the most.
You'll
common.
see stats on that, I'm sure. It's like, 60% pick
they
rate
said.
for first option.
Yeah, probably.
Left to right's most likely.
Left to right makes sense.
The order of the islands in Act 4 a little bit less predictable.
Yeah.
You know, one of those islands there's four permanent bonuses kind of going on in one area kind of thing. It's like a, you know.
Am I okay? I'm struggling from asthma pneumonia.
Someone will do it, figure it out.
I'm all right.
Make the progression guides.
It sounds worse when I'm gasping than it is.
Very cool if that ends up being the outcome, because that will keep things fresh long term.
Yeah.
There's a good reason to do it differently and doesn't just get kind of immediately solved.
Yeah.
So Act 4 was planned to have a new way of ascending, but that wasn't mentioned here, so it's not quite ready yet.
Didn't quite get time for it.
I've got lumbago.
A bit later.
Am I friends with Asmongold?
There's still a quest to go to the place where that is happening. But and we added like a kind of another.
I'm friends with someone far more controversial.
For the time being. But later on,
abroad in Japan.
That.
How much did you have to pay to get your user, or did Twitch just give it to you?
Trial just unfortunately wasn't quite compatible with making all of the other stuff we made. Probably if we hadn't made the interlude, we would have been able to do it.
It hasn't been used in a long time, and they said okay.
Just get rid of Crawl, so we ended up making that decision. But
thank goodness. was so stoked Cool's gone.
If it's what most of us imagine it's going to be, I can imagine where a lot of that work comes in. So, hopefully you guys, is it something that you'd like to get ready for next league then, it sounds like?
Well, I don't want to promise anything because at this point we're in the mode of like, we'll cut stuff if we need to make the release happen. So I wouldn't want to promise anything, but that would be nice. We'll just have to see.
I guess the other question then is, do you think it'll be like different enough and appealing to people who don't necessarily want to ascend the other ways?
Well, it's certainly different than the other ones by a very significant margin. So I think that'll be.
I also think that PoE 2 is a really good you don't. The end game is extraordinary.
Is it the idea that you ascend once in Act 2,
but just jumping into the game to experience a playthrough every other season, or during these interludes, trying just one class now, you're still going to get a ridiculous amount of content out of it.
It's just interesting because there's not.
And these are really fun games to revisit.
That way, so and then it would be a big gap until the end game.
So
your choice of fourth one.
I think that's another point that often gets.
You kind of want to get your build.
Because a lot of the people who are watching now. Of like the 50, because there was like 70, 80,000 watching the main feed when they were talking about the new stuff.
So a big part of this obviously is
but like continuing. So this is really catered for the diehard fans.
Discussion was just the speed of the campaign, how that tied in with difficulty.
But like just coming back and revisiting it as a comfort food is a really good investment of your time as a gamer.
Last league where you reduce zone sizes.
Yeah. So we did a bit of that. That's one of those things that's a bit hard to see exactly until you've played it a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I like, for example, right now, the first time you play through Act 4, I doubt you'll be worried about zone size. Second time, then it might then start to realize like what places are too big and what places aren't. So there'll probably be a little bit of adjustment to that, even as we do the first couple of patches in 030 as well. Just because, like as I said, it's actually.
I felt Tom Berry when I played PoE 2.
But the sprint helps. Like sprint is a big
I felt
deal
that
as
it
far as,
was
changing how the
pretty
game feels in this regard. So if you're fast, you know how to use it well.
It was very new player friendly, and I didn't have, and I was streaming it.
It'll be interesting to sort of see how
I feel like it had a great base that was conducive to playing it,
PoE player, right?
and they've already made a bunch of changes to make it better.
There's a fun risk reward.
It does have a couple of moments where you it shows its scale, and you do have an immediate feeling of like, oh my god, this is so insane that it has this much stuff.
You can use it like a boss is doing something.
And I think that in a lot of ways,
for boss stuff, you can.
For this game and for this genre, it's a good thing.
Yeah. But I think the thing that I find kind of interesting about it as well is that like you can skip monsters now more easily, and that means that if you are overpowered due to getting a good item drop or something like that, you can kind of like motor through a couple of areas a bit more, like sort of then catch up to the point where you sort of feel about right as far as the difficulty, and then keep going from there, like more specifically. So you've got that kind of tool at your disposal. Not something I'd expect like new players to do, or like players who kind of don't want to engage with that stuff. But if you're talking about like like the person who's playing through the campaign the fifth time, certainly that's an option that you've got that can kind of speed you through a little bit faster. So that's something as well that it kind of does, just because you are faster than basically everything. So
I think that's a huge thing, is that the fact that you sprint faster than any enemy.
Good players, like knowledge players, knew how to move a lot quicker. There's a bunch of skills. You get animation cancelling. You got shield charge.
It's true. It's true. The speedrunners already have a way, but like no one really wants. Like, obviously, you don't want to be doing that all the time, right? Like unless you're like really dedicated to speedrunning. So.
Niche, unintuitive, and whatnot. So like there's a simpler way to now, close the gap between the players who knew all of that and the ones who didn't, and which is great. And maybe a lot of those players are still using all of those tools even on top of this, and that's fine.
Actually, a little worried about getting hit while sprinting where it knocks you down.
Shield charge, dodge roll animation cancel shenanigans.
Haven't exactly done a race.
Yeah.
I think it's close. I'm pretty sure it's
that could be a real oops. I screwed
I know
up.
there's some passives on the deck side of the
tree. Is it officially still in early access?
Like
I think
slightly
it
increasing
is.
your speed while sprinting, and a few other different things while sprinting, like increing your evasion while sprinting.
I feel like it will be for quite a bit until all the classes kind of.
That maybe when you speak into all that, you have more of an advantage over those other skills.
Released.
We'll see,
Actually buffed dodge roll a bit for the sprint too. Like you can turn a bit better.
Yes.
for longer during the dodge roll.
You can. So that one was, man, I'll tell you what. So this is kind of inside baseball stuff, but sprint was like way harder to implement than you might expect. Like it seems like, oh, you just add a speed buff, but like getting it to be smooth and like feel right, and like all of the stuff around like the turning at the end and like all that stuff, that was really, really hard to do. Like it was like there was like a programmer for a very long time just working on sprint issues. Like holy crap,
That's crazy.
So yeah, like
Tokyo Bananas are amazing.
You know, like every little imperfection of it, so you do it so often, needs to be
full release is planned to be all classes and all 6 acts.
I use Sprint. Jeez, I was testing earlier, and
right,
it's so fun doing some of the things with Sprint. It's like we're like mega long dodge rolls into sprinting is gonna so fast.
Yeah, I mean we've in general just improved.
I mean this is a special title. It genuinely is.
And even outside of that, it's like talking about, you know, sprint, slog, fast, like there's more to it. There's you know, obviously dodge rolling has improved. The mercenary, like slow while reloading, but also something like Jonathan and I both just randomly did one day, just logged in on live, we played mercenary, and we were both just like,
what happened?
What did we do? What has gone on here?
What I believe
feels terrible.
It was the 0-0 change that related to like contact points or something. There was something like that I think broke it.
So
because the thing is, it wasn't actually feeling like how it felt before we released.
Yeah. Is that how you guys felt as a marksman player?
Drastically there.
Did it feel like
yeah, that one really improved it, but
your momentum was halted a lot
coming out of
that's why I didn't play that class because of it.
Moving.
Yeah,
you're a little bit faster coming out on all classes, so that actually affects the ranger and the sork as well a little bit. It's not like at first it seems quite subtle, like if you but when you play it side by side, it actually makes
it was pretty clunky when you reload.
Subtle change, like it worked as well.
I'm glad, man.
Like with the block,
it felt like a completely different game to all the other classes.
More mobile, you know, with a lot of the stuff. Like, I think it's helped a lot. But the nice thing is like we still didn't have to compromise on like making sure the combat still was right. So that's been a.
I wonder if it was the least played class,
especially because there's so many other buffs and things to other character classes. Like there is definitely a concern that we've like overcooked, gone too far. Like things are, you know, like things are going to be too easy, and I'm a bit worried about it. But I think it should be okay. You know,
I think overcooking's better than undercooking,
you mentioned,
right?
Like the way you've designed
like in acting, when I studied acting back in the old days, it's a lot easier for a director to tell you to do less and to scale back something than it is to get someone to do more. So hard to get an actor to go like make bigger choices and go further. But if you start from a place where you're like, oh, okay, that was a little too much, but I really like, let's go back a little bit.
Try these things.
I think game design also goes the same way when you're trying to balance things.
So, you know,
as long as you have a committed team to fixing these things, it's better to go too far and then to bring it back so that you find that sweet spot without it being a nerf. I think most people, although that is the challenge, I guess, is that people will be like, oh, I loved being ungodly overpowering.
I just find that boring. I just don't enjoy it at all. Like I feel like
I feel like just slightly reducing things is better than having a class be like unplayable
boss fight or something like that. So there just has to be a little bit of that left over. You know, sometimes it can be the situation.
Oh, it was one of the most OP builds. Nice seeing you in Final Fantasy today, Havesh. Well done, getting your belt.
You know,
hopefully you got that equipped.
Of iterations with these kind of things.
Well done.
To keep things feel grounded, kinetic, realistic, you know, that kind of stuff. So you're not just like, and animation-wise as well, there's a whole bunch. So, you know, when you're taking a chance on a thing like that and... You know,
oh man, so much new stuff in this game,
and you're uneasy about it. You know, I'm glad we did pull the trigger on this one and give it a go because
here's what I thought was cool. Like, there you go. That was the notes I took.
Going to take if this fails, it's a massive waste.
Because I mean, there was another one that was like hugely contentious, which was removing the limit of 1 per support gem.
Yeah,
was something that took a bit of convincing to even get people to want to try out. Like that was definitely a worry. And
that was a big change.
The concern there is just that, you know, isn't it just going to be that everyone's running the 5 same supports on every single thing? But I was kind of like the amount of I think what we're losing over this is much worse than.
There you go.
what we
Thank
were
you,
gaining.
Vase.
You know, like,
Update release
something really
August
important. And
29th.
so actually,
Try
now
the
that-
game
now
for
that we've done
free.
that, I wouldn't have it any
29th
other
through
way.
the
I think it's
1st of
really,
September.
Really good change. And that
Start
one
your
is, in my
your
opinion, the
passage
most
into
important change we're
fall
making in
with
0-3. I mean,
felling
obviously you got
a
bunch of content,
demonic
but,
horde
like, in
of
terms like,
zombies,
like what
beasts,
single
and
thing
demons.
is going to affect gameplay the most. Like, in
And
terms of
use
character
my
building, like,
link
build
to go look
variety,
at all the new
that change is
changes
a huge
and
one.
get into that
So,
right
yeah,
now.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what people
It's
can do.
that
I was
simple.
skeptical when you showed me this change.
Take care,
I was
Burn.
definitely in the camp of defending the decision of the one support limit for the logic of it's making you think about how you build each skill differently, not just building every skill for damage, but rather like
Okay, what an update.
damage-dealing skills am
I
gonna
feel
make
like
me
this
better or
is
do something else
huge.
instead?
I hope this thing
but
thrusts the
playing
game
around with
back
it,
into
it feels
the
like
Twitch or live
it kinda
streaming
just
spotlight.
lets you use it on 2 skills, like something
I
like
really
Fist of
do.
War.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
just a really big improvement. Like that's a lot more fun having 2 Fist of
I
War
also
skills
hope
than one.
I
but
recover
the skill
soon.
design is nuanced enough, and the supports themselves are nuanced enough.
I would really like
you
to
do
get
still seem
better.
Like you end up with a lot of variety.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely works. Like
That would
it's
feel
funny because
nice.
In the end, it feels
That
like the
would
concern we had
feel
was more
a
theoretical
lot
than it actually
better
was real, and that's
than,
why it's really important to actually try these
than
things.
normal.
Yeah, like and I would say that if the supports and skills were designed like how PoE 1 was, then you totally would have ended up in exactly the place that we were worried about.
Right, yeah.
But because there's a
I'm
lot
not
going
going to be
on
able
with
to
the way the
be
skills work,
around
just like
my
there's a lot more
son without a
thought into, like,
mask
the exact
for
ways the skills
over
interact in PoE 2. You kind of end up
another
being
3
fine,
weeks,
and it just ends
which
up
is
being
very
better.
frustrating.
So, yeah,
but
like, I'm really glad
I
we tried that
understand
one 'cause,
why.
yeah, it's super important.
Yeah, and it seems like lineage supports take over the role of this one gem a bit more.
They do. So basically, right at the end,
that's all right. You can't see very well anyway.
Character, but that's kind of like
he knows my
none of
voice
those
though because he
are,
smiles all
like,
big and silly when I show up.
You know, something like multiple projectiles or martial tempo, like these things are super important to kind of make
I'm not
skills even
contagious,
viable in
but
Endgame,
we're just afraid
whereas
of
the lineage supports don't have
any
that same
kind
thing. So
of
effectively, it's keep a little
coughing
bit
and
of that, like,
phlegmy and
interesting
that
decision
kind of
but only
stuff.
right at the end
Just
when you're
normal
kind of at the
bacteria
top end
can
and you're
be
thinking
spread
about, like,
too easily.
hyper-optimizing specific stuff or like with interesting mechanics. So we still get to retain a little bit of that there.
It's definitely a huge buff though. Like
Yeah.
this change. Like I've been playing Warrior, and I almost feel like saying the new Warrior because
it is the
not
new
any
Warrior.
One specific thing, like the support gem change, the sprinting change.
Yeah.
The faster while blocking, being able to block everything, it was way more impactful than I expected.
Yeah.
Weapon swap,
Weapon swap thing.
Instant weapon swap is huge.
Yeah.
I did play a lot of
it's a sum of all these
PoE1.
small individual things, and
Like
honestly,
a
it was
lot
quite
of
hard to
players,
design the
I
live
was
stream, what we were showing
dissatisfied
for this
with
reason, because it's like it kind
Diablo
of ended
3
up being
and
just like a huge
other
scattershot of like,
action
all sorts of
RPGs
little
couldn't
things,
quite
and it's sort of
scratch
hard to
the itch of
appreciate
Diablo
sum of
2.
it all, like,
And
adding
what
up to a
started
bigger
as a
experience. But,
spiritual
I mean, obviously, there's, like,
successor
really
kind of
big things, like,
morphed
you've got
into
the
its
infusion stuff
own
on the sword,
thing,
which is, like,
and
you know,
Path
like,
of Exile
radically, visibly,
became
obviously
kind of
changing the class.
what
It's
I
like, when I'm
think is
making a
kind of
case
the
for,
de
like, why is the
facto
Warrior better? It's kind of like
action
you've got a few new
RPG
skills, you've got like a few
experience.
different mechanics, but like together it just kind of comes into something that's like way better than
If
it
his
was.
hair is anywhere close to yours, then he is going to be a heartbreaker later for sure. I hope so. Hopefully he has the peak hair.
Too strong. And I'm like, I'm definitely a lot stronger, but I'm trying to figure out what it is.
That'll be
exactly.
sick.
It's like a bit that, a bit this.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything. Definitely feels like
Blizzard North
way
even
more
gave it their
fluid,
blessing,
faster,
which was
smoother,
badass. That is
all at the same time,
because when you have
got more
like
Fist of
you know
War
when
skills
they
going off,
when you have enthusiasts that
like
end up
the
making their
instant
own thing that's
weapon swap
just
thing is huge
very
as
very
well.
good
Like,
and a
that seems
worthy
like a minor
competitor
change, but
to other popular
all of a sudden
titles.
you're not
You know who
thinking
wins?
about,
Gamers.
there's
Gamers
no
win.
reason to not.
Right.
And I'm not a
There's
very
no-
big
and that-
like
there's no
this.
reason-
I'm not
giving
a very
people-
like what is it?
Removing all the reasons why people wouldn't use combos is exactly.
I'm not like a
the focus that we have for a
territorial.
lot of the stuff,
I'm
right?
like
It's what's
Nintendo's my
preventing someone doing a
favorite,
combo
or
here? What can we do to fix
or
it? So
this
you've
or
got,
that.
like, the shot
I'm
change where
just
that's longer.
I
You've
just
got,
love
like,
when
like
games
the
are
change
great
to
and the
chill
gaming
that kind of stuff. And,
experience
there was a whole
is
like,
vast
thing
and
we never
extraordinary
talked
for
about Ignite, 'cause
everybody.
There kind of wasn't room for it, but Ignite has got a whole different thing where it.
And you could tell that, yeah, exactly.
It's like
The
every time you
development
fail
team
to Ignite,
loves
it builds up flammability.
this
that means your
game,
next Ignite
and
is more likely.
they're trying their
So there's
best.
like that. There's like
I'm
a bunch of
100% the
changes all
opposite of a
through,
gatekeeper. I wish
places,
more
just these
people
little
tried
things
a
that,
bigger
fix that.
variety
One
of
of the ones I know
games.
is
Go
actually
look
really
at
big
like
is
Twitch
the,
Tracker. Look at all the games I've played, and you'll realize almost half of them are not suitable for growing an audience on Twitch.
So exposures, right? Like it seems so tiny. Like let's make it so that
I think it's great. I am not the key master. If I was a Ghostbuster,
honestly. Because
I
the
would,
moment
yeah, I'm
that there's
Vince
something that's
Clortho,
gonna add,
Keymaster of
30%
Gozer.
more damage in the case that it was before, that you don't have access to.
Only
if you're gonna use
half? I'd say
cross-element.
about
So
half.
you're never going to use cross element, right? Like
yeah.
you're never going to do it. So it's like really, really important to just remove every single barrier that's getting there because
we merged, and like we merged cast on shock ignite and freeze into single.
we did.
Single
So yeah,
gem.
there's no more cast on shock anymore. It's cast on ailment
Oh,
for that
wow.
reason as well, right? Exactly, right? So literally we're like, let's find every
Holy.
single reason that's going to stop
When
you
I get
from wanting
filthy
to be able to
rich,
use
the first thing I'm
multi-element builds and
doing is
actually try to
buying all
improve that,
gaming
right?
platforms and make all
so
games
guess
free
Well,
to
you
access.
can still just play one element if you
Actually,
want.
the first thing I would
Yeah,
do
but yet now if you're doing multi-element, there's just
is
no reason
probably get
I was so stoked looking at what
4
you're doing with the
MLB
elementals.
Super
It feels-
Creek and
for the first time it
Tazuna
actually
and
is like an
Umamusume.
elementalist, like there is
Because I
mixing
would
of the
need to be
elements.
filthy, extremely
Because
rich.
That's a fundamental game design thing with
And then the
action RPGs, is that it
second
always
thing
at some
I
point
would
makes
do
sense to focus in
would
on one very
probably
specific thing because of scaling and
fund
but it
Suikoden
seems like
6.
gone a long way towards solving that issue.
Well,
Then
hope so,
I
'cause
would
we
do the video
really tried to
game
fix every single
library.
case we could see. Now there might be still some
Stop
more.
it.
Like you'll
Get
find
some
there's some
help.
random mechanic that only works on one thing, and then people pick that, and they're like, okay, we have to find.
That would be
make sure that there's
my
something that's
order
gonna
of
attract you to every
operations.
element and
Oh
play it.
yeah, my son as
and,
well.
yeah, I mean,
things
part
like
of
that.
the upgrades to the individual ailments also really helps because it's giving you another reason. Like, it isn't just that you've removed the things that were preventing you from like you want to both have a I'm not specializing you because
There
this
we
mechanic
go.
works across different elements, but also you want to have like this element has something that you're going to want to use
Those-
with
those
other
things
elements,
are
right?
on my-
so like
my
buff and
hit
shock, for
list.
example. We're like, okay, like is there enough of a reason to weave lightning into a fire build, right? There wasn't enough of a reason. So by making shock better, it's like, well, then now there is a reason to use two things, but you also want the burn and you also might want the chill and, you know, like making sure that all that stuff is powerful enough to actually tempt you to actually do it. Like you
just
need-
one more
Because it makes
pull.
like a
How
shock,
bad can it be?
and you
Yeah,
mentioned
you're
bigger
right.
magnitude shocks.
Yeah,
One more
no,
collector's
yeah.
box.
Bunch of shock effect on
Yeah,
it.
so effectively, if the
Imagine
skill
if I
is
just
supposed
bought
to be
my
for
badass
shocking, then that
dice
skill will have
game and
magnitude
blood
on it,
cloak
because
in
the
this
idea is
for
that, like, you know,
the-
we really
the-
wanna
the
make sure
cosmetics,
that, you know, it actually
as
works,
opposed
but
to actually trying to get
so that
anything
kind
in
of
the
stuff.
other
It's the same with
games.
the fire skills that are intended for burning as well. Like if something's intended for burning, it's going to have some kind of duration or something like that. So it's like you want to use that one, then you want to switch to something else while that's burning away and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay,
you
so
wanna do that sort of
I'm
thing,
gonna,
but you feel a
I
bit
think
silly
we,
because,
they're,
like,
they're kind of talking about,
yeah, you should just like
you know,
use your main skill instead. You waste
the
it.
game itself. I'm gonna go to because my sponsored time is done, but I want to talk a little bit about what they said that I was interested in. So let's do that before I go to bed and eat breakfast and take medicine and play Final Fantasy XI. Actually, before I reload Path of Exile 2 and get my stuff set up. Can we get a huge round of applause for the sponsor though? We did a little extra time because it's so good. It's been like I am so thankful that they did this. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have even a little bit of time, it would mean a lot to me if you just followed that link, perused their section, and they can look at their data and say, you know what? That guy's a good sponsor. He appreciates the game. His community appreciates the game. We're gonna use him again. Well, let's go to the news desk.
You're watching PP Action News.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of PP Action News. I'm here to give you the breakdown of what I thought was the biggest news announcements from the Path of Exile 2, dev update. Here's what I wrote down as my notes. The first thing we're looking at here is that there is going to be a free-to-play weekend from the 29th to September 1st. It's going to be a nice weekend for you to dive back in. And let me tell you something. This is not one of those updates where you're like, oh, I only get to go to level 12 and I get to try one class. The entire game, all acts are available for you to make progress in. And that progress is saved should you decide to support the devs and continue playing for a long term, which I also would highly recommend. One of the big things that I thought was awesome is that when you get to Act 4, which is the new kind of in-game act that they're adding with this particular content update, it's got this cool little archipelago vibe to it, and you get to choose which direction you want to go in. You don't have to follow a set. First go this zone, then go that zone, then go bingo, bango, bongo. It's kind of a choose your own adventure so that you can go at your own pace and try out new stuff. which I think is a kind of a theme in this expansion, because later on with the interludes, which is this post-game content that bridges the gap from Act 4 to Act 5, they also allowed you to choose where you wanted to go and how you wanted to do it, which I think is awesome. There is a caveat, though. The interludes that they're adding, which are these kind of special story and progression and new bosses and new content and 24 new bosses. It was 24 new bosses, 35 new maps. Some of the interlude content is temporary. So while you're going through this expansion or this content update, those are going to be some exciting things for you to do before they say, like, here's Act 5 and new stuff to do. So you do want to, if you're a completionist, you are going to want to do that, right? Number 4, they've added what I consider to be one of the biggest abilities that is something that we're all looking forward to. It's a single word. It's sprinting. I think having more mobility to traverse some of these fairly large maps is fantastic. That is a massive QOL, quality of life. You can now run. You don't have to use animation cancels or busted abilities. All classes have access to it. It's after you dodge roll, you hold down the roll button and you go into sprint. This is big. Like, if you've ever played an action RPG, be like having an opportunity to move through things faster is like movement speed. I would, and in any MMO or action RPG, I would have faster run walk or movement speed upgrade before I would do in-game damage. Like, I care more about doing things, getting to places quicker than I do about 5% more damage. That is true. That is what I care about. You can run, don't walk. Go !POE2 right now and start getting all of that information for yourself, the things that I'm not going over. Another thing that I think is absolutely game-changing is previous in the game, let's say you had 6 different abilities that you've decided to spec into. There was ways of using support gems, which you use from these 3 different tiers, and you put them into your abilities to kind of augment them to be better. The downside, or I mean, we didn't really think of it as a downside, or I didn't really consider it that, you could only use these support gems to augment one of the abilities. So let's say you have something that does cooldown minus 30%. You can only use it on one of your abilities. Now they're allowing you more player expression so that you can have the same skill gems in all of your abilities. So you can really fine tune instead of kind of, funneling it towards like, I'm going to use this one ability and build around it. Use all your abilities. That's awesome. That's huge. I'm also super excited about a ton of new passives. Each kind of class has a bunch of new passives made, which I've always liked passive abilities. It's one thing to have a bunch of buttons that do stuff, but having power and growth through passives is an underrated game design skill. And choosing a passive that actually makes you feel more powerful is a huge flavor W. And I'm excited to see how that is going to pay off in this game. They also made Warrior just look super fun. I think they spent a ton of time showing the Fire Maelstrom ability being used, and I was like, say no more. I saw it twice. It looked like these awesome flame veins are just going on the ground, and I will be maximizing that skill and going all in. So that is sick to me, but every class had buffs. So whatever class you were interested in, go check that !POE2. Go look for yourself at some of the changes. The patch notes will be released in an hour or so. Go see for yourself. It's going to be awesome. Plus, they'll let you know that I came here, that you came from here. Hello, Dascalara. How are you? Thank you for saying hi to me. In particular, passives that change how the game feels to play is nice. Button bloat is a thing that happens. That's how I feel. I'm glad that you concur. They're adding a lot of content. Well, I mean, like, they're adding a major piece of a content called Abyssal. It's like a seasonal thing that's going on right now. What they've done is they've implemented that not in just to the in-game and to crafting, which has also been upgraded, but they're putting it into the base game as well. So if you're a longtime PoE2 player, or maybe you've done Act 1 3 or 4 times, now it'll have a little bit of a different vibe to it. Since that content is being kind of added in as you go, it does give a nice, refreshing re-entry to previously played stuff, which can sometimes feel a little bit like, oh, damn it, I've already done this once, I've already done this twice. Maybe this, and I like it when they do that. I'm hoping that the balance is that it doesn't overtake the axe. I'll have to wait and see. But definitely something that they're trying to do, which I appreciate. They've added, with the Abyssal, they're adding like a way to augment your rare items so that you can add a roguelike choice to it. You can use an item to make it Abyssal and then take it to like this Well of Souls and then choose one of 3 different characteristics to imbue upon that. That's your choice. Big fan of that as well. They've added splinters to the end game, which my understanding, because I didn't get really into the end game, was that sometimes you would feel kind of locked into either selling off items to other players because you didn't have the power level to use some of these kind of activities, but now you can customize the experience to your power level, so you can make it a little easier, you can make it a little harder. I personally like that because nothing sucks more than getting a really cool drop that you're like, I can now do this cool thing. Oh wait, no I can't. I'm way too weak and I need help to do it. But now I'm not doing anything and I'm trying to find my power scale to the activity that I'm trying to do. This seems to be an answer to that kind of situation. And to a lot of players, this final thing that I was felt that touched upon, they have asynchronous trading, which is, I mean, it's, you still have to tab out, which I know is probably going to be a little frustrating for some players. But now you don't have to be online. You can sell all your stuff. You can have a thriving trade system without having it be like wug, go to the trading post room. Hey, I'm in the middle of doing this in-game thing, but I found a person that I wanted to trade with. I've got to go back to my hub and trade it for them there. That's huge. There you go. Those were the things that I thought were huge. So big shout to Triple G for coming in here and letting me talk about my experiences. I hope that I did a good job of sharing that content with all of you. I would also genuinely like to say a massive thanks for showing up and being here and being a part of it. I am going to go immediately go to sleep and recover. And when I come back next, we're going to try to play some games. We're going to try to hang out and have some fun. But I'll leave that link up for you guys. It's going to be on the panel on the About page. And I just want to say major appreciation. Mudon is back in Japan. I'm not climbing Mount Fuji. I think I would choke on the air. But, you know, there are people doing that. So, again, I can't say thanks enough for everyone who pulled through and was a big part of today. What the hell? Mudon, is he streaming right now? Is he live with Connor? Is Mudon TV live? On Connor's. All right, we'll go to C-Dog, boys. Let's go support our guy Mudon. Thank you all. They're climbing Fuji? Wow. I don't know what to say. In a suit? I'll tell you what. You guys know better than me. There's just too much cool shit. I'm just here to be a messenger. I didn't know I had to compete against everyone climbing Gearys and Fujis and Sea Dogs. That's monkey business. Make sure you say hi to the boys for me. I got some exciting collab stuff with Connor coming down the pipeline that you guys are going to chill and enjoy. I'm going to try to meet Mudon on a stream coming up this for a video. You know, I'm trying to rest up. I'm trying to get good. Thank you all so much. Here is the stats for today. We had 2.5 hours of power. We averaged 1,100 viewers. We had 1,400 max, 8,000 unique viewers, 372 unique chatters, 26 new followers, 74 new subs. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate you guys more than you'll ever understand. I'll try to get healthy, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everybody.